Yo, Atlas speaking, and welcome to part 4 of What If I Was Reborn in One Piece as a fishman and became the king of the great Fishman Empire. Let the tale begin. Chapter 91, Baroque Works. As the battle between Kaido and Jaw caused a wave through the New World. Even the involvement of an admiral as the Marines tried to stop the battle spread through the news. While that was happening, Naruto and the rest of the Straw Hats were having a grand old time of being inside a whale, and Luffy fighting the whale to stop it from banging himself against the red line. Crocus smiles as he sees the Straw Hats sail away. Roger, do you think that they are the ones that you are waiting for? Ponders Crocus. He also looks at Naruto as he sees the kid waving at him as they sail away. Who would have thought that Jaw would let one of his kids out of his sight? Wasn't he super protective of them when they were young? I guess Jaw is no longer that kid back in the day who used to train all day long and ask me for medical tips and tricks. Crocus can't help it as a melancholic smile appears on his face. Time really passes by so fast. It feels like it was yesterday when Jaw would act like he was sick and scheme with Odin on how to scam people out of money at every island we visited. Naruto looks at the strange weather and the blue-haired woman in front of him. Hums Naruto as he looks at Miss Wednesday. I feel like I have seen you somewhere before. And no, I don't think you have, says Vivi, visibly nervous. Why is a guy like him so perceptive at times like this? Naruto has a silly look on his face as his face gets closer to Vivi's. Yeah, you are right. No idea who you are, never saw you in my life. He then casually walks away and helps the crew with the sails as it suddenly starts snowing. Vivi wants to punch him so badly, but she stops herself from doing so. She then breathes a sigh of relief until she sees Dead Cat licking its paws and looking at her. She knows that the talking cat is quite intelligent. Possibly the smartest member of the Straw Hats. You are hiding something, says the cat casually as it jumps towards the snowman that Usopp made, destroying it in the process. Oi! Dead Cat, what the hell? Yells Usopp at Dead Cat, though the latter doesn't pay any attention to the yelling Usopp. The storm passes and everyone is tired and laying on the ground. The least tired though was Naruto as he is playing cards against Dead Cat, and losing horribly. Compared to staying up days without sleep during his stay in Rizukana Island, that place is filled with animals so dangerous that no rookie pirate would be able to defeat them. Also with almost no food due to the dangerous animals wandering around, and Naruto has a high endurance as he barely survived in that place. At least until he got his devil fruit. Then it didn't matter how tough the animal, he easily defeated them all. Naruto looks around confused. Oh, it seemed like we arrived at an island. As he says that, the rest of the crew is re-energized and gets up. They see giant cactus-like structures and the town light greeting them. As they get closer they see that it is actually people welcoming them to the island. Ms. Wednesday and Mr. Nine jumped overboard and swam back to Whiskey Peak before the Straw Hats reached it. They celebrate all of the night away and the Straw Hats eat and drink as much as they can. Having a merry time, but that is when the Straw Hats start falling asleep. Of course, some were faking it. Except for Naruto, he looks around at the others and says, "Oh! They must be tired from the changing weather from before." Munchie eats a huge steak and swallows it. His stomach is puffed up like a balloon, but as it seems like it's about to burst his body releases some steam and he is back to normal. Munch 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 munch. An hour after everyone had fallen asleep Naruto was still eating, and the people of Whiskey Peak looked at him with shocked looks on their faces. How can someone eat so much? Wonder the people as they start sweating a little. They have spent food that would have fed the whole town for days in Naruto only. Half an hour later and Naruto sees that there is no more food around. He looks at the town mayor Igaram and asks, "Did you guys run out of food?" "And no," stuttered Igaram. His face is slightly sweating as he is not sure if Luffy's bounty will even cover the expenses of Naruto's bill if they let him eat anymore. I welcome you to another restaurant as this one has run dry." Naruto nods. "Sure, take me there." After a while, Igaram takes Naruto to an abandoned warehouse. Once Naruto enters inside it, weapon muzzles come out of Igurum's curly hair and shoot at Naruto. Pow! 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 Igurum winces in annoyance at this. I should have done this earlier and saved a couple 100,000 berry instead of letting him eat as much as he wanted. But as the dust clears out, he sees Naruto just standing there casually. Though due to the bullets, his shirt was ripped apart. Naruto had used Tekai as soon as he had heard the sound of gunfire. It's more like instinct than anything else truly. Naruto is gullible enough to be tricked by the residents of Whiskey Peak. Saru. Fwash! Naruto disappears from Igurum's view and moves at such speeds that before Igurum can even react, Naruto grabs him by the face and smashes his head on the ground. Bomb! Cough! Igurum coughs blood as his eyes roll on the back of his head and he is unconscious. Naruto walks out, and as he does so, he sees dozens of people have surrounded him and are pointing guns at him. Even amongst the roofs of the buildings there are people pointing guns at him. Damn! I am in quite a pinch, ain't I? Says Naruto casually, not truly worried. They would need a cannonball to even injure him. Even then, with his Tekai the injury wouldn't be anything too dangerous. Pow! 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 The gunshots ring out and Naruto uses Saru to move out of the way of the gunfire. He walks on walls and first goes to take out the people who have the high ground, as he knows that those guys will always be the most dangerous during a fight. Zipper decapitation. Fwash! Naruto moves at incredible speeds and people's heads start flying like fireworks. In another high building, Zoro has a bird's view of the town and he sees Naruto fighting like that. Damn, with him fighting like that, the others won't even notice me. That is true, says a voice behind him, and Zoro almost slashes at the voice, but he recognizes it to be the voice of Dead Cat. Oi! Don't surprise me like that, yells Zoro in annoyance as he sees Dead Cat just acting like a cat and playing with his tail. Zoro suddenly pales as he looks down and sees Baroque agents pointing at him. There he is! He must have escaped, let's kill him, yells one of the Baroque agents. Damn it! Zoro seems annoyed at this. But in the end, he just sighs and says, well, I better test my new swords, I guess. Chapter 92, A Little Garden. Naruto goes amongst the Baroque agents like they are nothing, either immobilizing or killing them. He would use Tekai on any attacks that he couldn't dodge, and he was still unscathed by any of the attacks. His fighting style was most suited when fighting a group of enemies. Zoro was fighting his own battles too, but he had a little blood coming out of his forehead as he was punched by Igurum's partner. Damn, this is troublesome, thinks Zoro out loud. Pow! 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 A gale of bullets comes at him once more, so he has to hide behind a building. Unlike Naruto, he isn't bullet resistant. Bullets will hurt him just like other humans. But while Naruto was doing that, a certain rather tall and fat man with big lips, and wears a green shirt that covers most of his body with black pants and gray running shoes. He is Mr. 4 and he had been sent to deal with Vivi. He was upon one of the hills as he looks at Naruto going through enemies like paper. He is strong, says Mr. 4 in a slow and dim-witted manner. That is when a middle-aged woman with a stout and red hair comes from underground. She wears a necktie that resembles a Christmas tree, which goes with her code name. Other notable attire includes a large pair of purple lens sunglasses, a basket strapped to her back, and sandals. She is Mr. 4's partner, codename Miss Merry Christmas. He is dangerous, his devil fruit ability is even more dangerous than him. He just needs to touch something and it will separate, either making them immobile or killing them. So we must deal with him at a long-range distance. That is when a dog cannon thing appears next to them. Well, the kid should be taken out at a long distance. Then we can go and deal with Princess Nefertari Vivi, says Miss Merry Christmas. Mr. 4 nods at this and gets ready to shoot a baseball. Naruto at the same time just separates another head from a Baroque agent, but suddenly a chill descends upon his spine. His observation haki had never been too advanced like that of his siblings, but when an attack has even the chance of being a danger to his life, he can sense it. That is one of those times when something is truly a danger, so he jumps back as much as he can. Not even a second later and in the place where he stood before. Boom! It's engulfed by a giant explosion. *T, that was a big explosion. Exclaims Naruto, that would have definitely injured him if it hit. His eyes look towards where the explosion came from and he narrows his eyes. He can see the figure of two people in a moving weapon? Wonders Naruto, he hasn't seen one of those in quite a while. Ever since his dad kept some around for the younger children to play with and learn how to handle weapons. That way, the weapons have some intelligence and the children won't be hurt by it. Still, Naruto uses Geppo to fly off and go towards Mr. 4 and Miss Merry Christmas. Wah! He flying? Questions Mr. 4 in his usual dim-witted manner. Prepare to attack him again. If he gets close we're done, says Miss Merry Christmas. Pow! Another cannon baseball is thrown at Naruto, who sees it coming towards him and his body moves strangely as if it's made of rubber. Kami. He dodges the attacks that are thrown at him and blitzes use his devil fruit. Zipper bloody decapitation. Two heads fly in the air as Naruto just looks at the cute dog below him. Naruto puts his foot on the dog's head and bursts it like a watermelon. He wouldn't trust anything that was made by an enemy. The dog might seem like an animal, but animals and weapons always have a loyalty to a certain person. When Naruto returns back, he sees that Zoro and Luffy are fighting. But Nami interrupts them by punching them in the face. She then shows them Vivi and explains to them the situation that they are in, and how she plans to save Vivi. They sit down and talk about a deal, but at that time Vivi accidentally tells them the names of Baroque Works' boss, Mr. Zero, or also known as Crocodile. That is when a strange bird and raccoon-looking thing show up. They draw the faces of the Straw Hats. They try to fly away, but Naruto casually kills them both as he uses Geppo to fly, in tandem with his devil fruit. This should keep us in the unknown for a while, says Naruto with a serious look on his face. He knows just how dangerous a Shichibukai can be. True, for his stronger siblings, most of the Shichibukai are nothing but a rabble. But to him, they are all dangerous. Later on, they set sail. Igaram tries to be a decoy, but his ship immediately explodes. Naruto and the others board and go forth to Little Garden. During the encounter with Nico Robin, Naruto is asleep and so is Dead Cat. They didn't sleep at all during the last night as they fought/stole from Baroque Works. As they arrive in Little Garden, Naruto is told of the encounter. But he seemed bored by it. He is a man of action. He doesn't care about such silly things. Whoa, this looks pretty cool, exclaims Naruto as he sees a T-Rex growling at the ship. Naruto then opens a zipper in his abdomen and Dead Cat jumps inside. I am going, guys, see you later, exclaims Naruto as he jumps to the T-Rex that was growling at him. Bomb! He kicks the T-Rex in the face, knocking him out. Bah, you are all weaklings. I am gonna beat every cool dinosaur on this island and eat them. He then grabs the T-Rex by his tail and starts dragging the creature. I have never eaten a T-Rex before. Let's see how you taste. While Naruto is cooking the T-Rex, he is confronted by a man with his hair having the form of a number 3. He looks at the man and he sees the number on top of his head. Oh, so you must be number 3 then? Asks Naruto as he tilts his head to the side. Heh, of Kodash. Saru. Bomb! Naruto just knocks him out with a punch to the head and goes back to eating T-Rex meat. Well, that is that now. These Baroque agents are weak. Munch. Miss Valentine saw this and her face paled as she saw Naruto easily take out NR.3. She didn't even approach. Due to a certain event in the past, where she and her partner arrogantly attacked a marine warship, she has been careful when she picks her opponents. Her partner died, and she was only able to survive due to luck. I need to fake my death and run away, at least then Baroque work won't chase me. Contemplates Miss Valentine. Chapter 93, The Conflict of the End. While the Straw Hats were in Little Garden, and Naruto was doing his own thing. In the New World, Jaw and all of his older children who can fight are in a giant table meeting. Jaw looks at them and smiles, showing his razor-sharp teeth. We have to go and kill Big Mom. One of you will get her fruit too. We will be gathering a bunch of devil fruits today as we slaughter all of the Big Mom pirates, up to the last child. Once they kidnap my son, I don't like letting people who do that live. The peace that we brokered together is that Pudding and Naruto were gonna marry in the future. That was never gonna happen. Today the Big Mom pirates will cease to be all together. It doesn't matter anymore if the Marines appear once more, we can slaughter the admiral they sent too. We will destroy their ships as they approach. Once tomorrow comes around, no one with Charlotte's last name will be left alive to see the bright dawn tomorrow. The children nod at that. They understand that their father never planned to let Big Mom live for too long after she kidnapped Kisame. Also, Jaw had another thought in his head. Plus Big Mom is a thorn to my side, she is someone who has become an unstable factor. If she goes against me at a critical point in my plan, then it will all come crumbling down. Jaw would be lying if he said that he was 100% sure that everything will work out in the end. His goal of world domination is a risk in itself. It could have him and his children slaughtered. But a man is as big as his ambition. I must do this, or I will always have to live with that fear of uncertainty. Thinks Jaw resolutely. He knows that at the end of the day, he isn't that much different from the world government. But at least he will allow this civilization to advance and stop always looking in the past. What is the use of the Void Century? What is the use of learning about an ancient kingdom where there are hundreds of kingdoms who have fallen along history? What is the use of trying to complete the promise of a man already dead? Nothing. This world needs to start looking into the future. Contemplates Jaw as he looks towards the sky. Space, that is where the goal should be. 1 hour later and a fleet of flying ships set off. Nagato's ability is perfect for something like this as he can easily keep islands afloat. Some ships are nothing to him. Jaw smiles at this. Big Mom won't even know what hit her. As the fleet flies high in the air, every single one of Big Mom's islands has some ships standing above them. Jaw is currently above Whole Cake Island. The attack will commence in 3, 2, 1. Go! He jumps off the ship, and so do many of the children. They all know Jeppo, so they let themselves free fall. His children will be attacking some other islands too. Currently, with him, there are only some of the kids like Surzex and such. The strong kids like Kakashi and such are all attacking islands on their own. They all have their own opponents. I have my opponent too. Thinks Jaw as he sees Big Mom come out of her castle. Her eyes were scared. She had one normal-looking eye and the other was a blinded eye. Jaw! Yells Big Mom in anger. You dare break our agreement. Jaw smiles at that. Why should I keep an agreement with a weak old hag? Big Mom becomes angry at that. I will show you weak, you stupid shark. Ikoku sovereignty. Boom! A giant blast of air comes towards Jaw. He would compare these attacks to have about the same attack power as Kaido's heat breath. But this is nothing, it doesn't have the burning element into it. So I don't even have to use my sword for it. Ponders Jaw as he imbues his fist with Haki, hardening it. As Big Mom's attack got closer, he just punched forward. Shocker. Boom! His punch and Big Mom's attack clashed, but the strange thing is that his fist is not touching her attack at all. Bam! Big Mom's attack disperses harmlessly like fireworks. Jaw smiles at this. Though he might not be physically as strong as Big Mom, his Haki is leagues above hers. Her Haki isn't bad either as she can use advanced armament Haki, but Jaw has trained this skill of his for a whole decade almost non-stop. You seem to have gotten weaker, Big Mom. Says Jaw, his face still on his iconic smile. Big Mom looks calmly at Jaw. He is a little confused by that. Usually, Big Mom is a rage monster through and through. she would never be able to keep calm after an insult. Seems like she has grown a little. Ponders Jaw as he can see that Big Mom doesn't seem to be as rash as she used to be before. He wouldn't go and call her a calm and collected person, but at least now she isn't rushing headfirst into battle. As Jaw can see that insults aren't going to be effective anymore. He charges Big Mom and he draws his katana, lightning crackling all around him. Big Mom has Prometheus like a cloak of fire around her. The fire is so hot that it would melt any normal sword before it even reached her. But Jaw isn't the normal guy, and as he gets close, he and Big Mom clash swords. Clang! He suddenly takes out another sword and slashes at Big Mom. Fwish! A small cut appears on her hand, but she doesn't mind any of that. She has fought Jaw many times now and knows how to deal with him. She knows that Jaw makes small wounds on someone until they add up. So she immediately burns the wound shut. Big Mom has countless scars along her arms courtesy of Jaw, adding another one to that is no big deal to her. Jaw and Big Mom, they both know that this fight will be a long one between them. Even as Jaw secretly plans to end this duel between them faster than most people would anticipate. On another island, Kisame was fighting against Katakuri. They were both clashing, and both were looking at the future, trying to find a blind spot on the other's prediction and defense. Katakuri had landed some hits at Kisame, but they were all ineffective. This, it feels like hitting mother. Contemplates Katakuri, as his hits all seem to do no real damage to Kisame. It's almost as if his skin was made of diamonds. He is familiar with something like that as he has seen Big Mom have something similar. I need to kill him now or he will grow beyond what any of us will be able to handle. Kisame on the other was a little annoyed too. Though he couldn't let himself be influenced by his emotions or he would lose sight of the future. He is not taking damage, but Katakuri is not taking damage either, as every time Kisame is about to hit him, he morphs his body into Machi and dodges. Chapter 94, Fight Fairly? What is that? While Jaw and Kisame were fighting their opponents and were in a kind of stalemate. Amongst the other islands, a slaughter was happening. Ichigo is currently fighting against Daifuku when suddenly he disappears from the man's view by using Saru and appears behind his back. The genie wasn't fast enough to return to his master as Ichigo swings his sword. Fwish! And Daifuku's head flies off. Ichigo looks around at the fruits that were thrown from the ships. One of the fruits changes into a blue pear with spirals in it. Ichigo smiles at this. Our family will experience a dramatical power increase now. At the same time, Kakashi was midair with his eyes closed as he concentrated on his observation haki. He sensed Deidara fighting against Perispero. Though Deidara seemed to be winning, the battle wouldn't be over anytime soon. Bzzzt. Kakashi appears behind Prospero and pierces his brain with his spear, instantly killing him. That is when Kakashi picks up that some of his siblings seem to be having a hard time against Oven. Bzzzt. In a blink, he appears behind Oven too and kills him instantly. Kakashi has his spear covered in armament haki as he does all this. His eyes are cold and his demeanor is even colder. He knows just how dangerous this battle will be, and he must not let any of his siblings die during this conflict. He immediately goes to interfere in the battle between Kisame and Katakuri. His brother was too headstrong on beating Katakuri on the ground. He knows that he can beat him at sea, but he wanted to show that he was superior on the ground too. That stupid Kisame, complains Kakashi, as he turns into lightning and goes to attack Katakuri. This war must be quickly finished. The Marines will most likely send 2 admirals to deal with it and stop Dad from killing Big Mom like last time. Well, this time it won't play out like that at all. Jaw is still clashing against Big Mom. There are no wounds on his body. But Big Mom has some new wounds which were burned shut. They are midair clashing repetitively against each other. That is when Jaw starts counting on his head. 3, 2, 1. Now! Under the sea, Jinbe and a bunch of another 100 Fishman karate users look at the ticking clock in Jinbe's hand. Now! Yells Jinbe, as he and hundreds of other fishmen grab the water around them and throw it at Big Mom. Fishman karate, God-killing wave. Boom! Like the eruption of a volcano, a giant pillar of water covered both Jaw and Big Mom. This immediately weakens Big Mom as it almost destroys Prometheus, and Zeus is weakened too. But to Jaw, this helped him tremendously, as while Big Mom couldn't move, he could move even inside the pillar of water. He went towards Big Mom and she had her mouth open. He took a coin made out of sea stone and threw the coin in her mouth, immediately paralyzing her and weakening her tremendously. Jaw doesn't wait anymore as he goes towards Big Mom, his sword drawn and Fwish! Big Mom's giant head with pink hair separates from her thick neck. Her defense and hockey were both weakened extremely from the water and sea stone coin inside her body. Jaw POV. I can't help it as I celebrate a little seeing Big Mom finally die. Honestly, now that I am strong like this, I can handle swallowing Big Mom's territories. The world government will have to send all the Fu * King admirals they have if they even want to try fighting me. Even then, they will get 3 admiral corpses in return for their troubles. Boom! Big Mom's body falls on the ground, creating a crater below her. My eyes immediately wander around the island as I fall down from the sky. Jajajajajajajaja. I laugh out loud as I descend upon the children of Big Mom. The young kids and babies have already been killed. We also should have the memory fruit in our hands now that Makoto killed the young kids. This world is cruel, and letting Big Mom's children grow enough to become thorns on my side isn't something I would allow to ever happen. Boom! I land on the ground and a crater is made all around me. Within my observation hockey range, I can see some long neck people. They must be some of Big Mom's kids. Saru. I don't even bother anymore with preliminaries, I just rip out their heads and cut their necks. Sometime later, and I have already massacred every enemy around me. Whole Cake Island is completely free of enemies. I smile slightly as I see some of my soldiers walk amongst the island. General POV. Amongst those soldiers was Jinbe, and he had a shocked look on his face. Dead bodies were all around, a lot of them being Big Mom's children. Still, Jinbe doesn't say anything as he sees Jaw's terrifying smile. The man just destroyed one of his rivals, so he is happy and others can understand that too. At the same time, Katakuri's body falls on the ground too, as he has a giant sword sticking out of his chest, and a spear pierced his heart. Kisame and Kakashi were only breathing a little heavily, seemingly tired, as neither of them even had a scratch on their bodies. They had both fought against Katakuri at the same time, and they killed him using tricks and deception. Heh. I guess fighting fairly really isn't a good idea amongst pirates, says Kisame as he lies down on the ground. Kakashi looks at Kisame and uses a small lightning bolt from his fingertip. He shocks Kisame's body slightly. Ow! What the hell, Kakashi? We have more work to do. The battle is over, but we must win the war now. Yeah, just keep being cryptic *T. A couple of hours later and a marine fleet comes towards Tata Land, where Big Mom's territories used to be. There were over 20 battleships, and what was scarier wasn't the number of men, but instead, the 3 men who have serious looks on their faces as they look at the islands that start appearing in front of them. Akiji and Akainu were there, but there was another man too. He is a vice admiral, but no one would dare say that he was any weaker than the admirals, even with his old appearance. He is the marine hero, Monkey D. Garp. Ah, who would have thought that the little fishman in Roger's ship would end up being a Yonko? Complains Garp. At least this one is nicer than that bastard red hair. Akiji smiles slightly at this. Well, I think that his opinion might be a little biased on that. He probably just hates red hair for the things he said to his grandson. Akainu on the other hand doesn't care about any of this. Because this time, the Gorosei have given the order to actually kill Jaw if they can. The man has shown that his ambition is too dangerous, even more dangerous than the other emperors of the sea. Chapter 95, Jaw, the man too dangerous to live. As the marine warships are about to continue forward, they see something that they can't believe. Even Garp and the admirals are surprised by that. An island descends from the sky. In front of it are Jaw, Nagato, Kakashi, Kisame, Ichigo, and Mikoto, together with many children behind him. "Well, hello there," says Jaw with a smile on his face. "How can I help you, marine men?" While they have a reluctant look on their faces. Fwish! Garp disappears from his previous place and charges towards Jaw. Thor! But suddenly above the clouds lightning gathers. BZZZT. And it hits Garp in less than a second. Boom! But Garp just punches upward and with his fist covered in hockey, he dispels the lightning. He has an annoyed look on his face. He is about to go and attack Jaw once more, but then a giant tsunami arises from the water. Boom! Garp grinds his teeth in annoyance at this. He turns around and sees that the admirals have nervous looks on their faces and are not making a move. "Damn brats," says Garp as he immediately decides to give chase to Jaw again, and the Fishman smiles at this slightly and jumps up to go and meet Garp midair. But as they are about to clash on the air once again. Pow! Jaw is punched in the ocean by Garp. No one saw what exactly happened as the exchange of hits was too fast. But suddenly a little blood down Garp's lip. "That damn brat, he kicked me as soon as I punched him." Jaw immediately comes out of the ocean and he has a bloody smile on his face. "You are still as strong as ever, Garp, but I think that the Marines should retreat now. Big Mom is dead, the Marines shouldn't interfere in the New World. This is our playground now." Garp looks at Jaw with a trace of anger in his eyes. "You think that the New World is your playground? Well, I will show you, brat." Jaw shrugs at this and sighs. Yeah, I know that our playground is not as big as the world government's, but we make do with what we have." Garp gets a calm look on his face as he hears Jaw say that. So that is what he is after. Garp smiles slightly, but his smile disappears as he turns around and gives the order retreat. "We are going back, there is no use for us fighting the Jaw pirates." Jaw's smile widens at this and turns around too. He gave Garp a hidden message, and turning around means that he won't interfere. That old man isn't as dumb as he seems. Ponders Jaw, as he goes back to his kids and says, "Let's organize the population of Tato Land." After that happened, in Little Garden, Naruto and the rest of the Straw Hats spent their time having a feast with the two giants. After the feast, in the morning, suddenly the news coup drops a newspaper in front of Naruto. He sleepily opens the newspaper and reads the headline. "Way off!" exclaims Naruto, surprised at the headlines. Underscore 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 underscore. Emperor Jaw kill ex-Emperor Big Moem. Now officially, out of the Yonko, Jaw is the strongest. Some are criticizing the Marine retreat that occurred after the battle, calling it cowardly. Underscore 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 underscore. What the hell, Dad just officially swallowed Big Mom's territory, didn't he fight against Kaido just recently? Damn, he is pulling some big moves and even cased the likes of Garp, Akiji, and even Akainu. Contemplates Naruto, he swallows hard at this. Now that they are just playing with Shichibukai, it seems like a kid's play in comparison. At this rate, there is no way that Luffy will ever even have a chance of becoming the Pirate King. Naruto of course had not been informed of this situation at all. After all, he isn't known to be very smart and strong to really help. But he knows one thing for sure. Dad is preparing for something big. In the Marine headquarters, Itachi reads the newspaper and narrows his eyes a little. Soon, our final move will be played. After that, we will start taking over this world. He puts the newspaper down and goes outside to continue training. This is what must be done, I must be useful when the time comes. A small, almost unnoticeable smile appears on Itachi's face as he contemplates situations like this. His wish is to one day see his siblings in an untouchable position. He is a simple man, he just wants to protect his siblings, they are his everything after all. The residents of Totoland got easily accustomed to their new leader. It wasn't truly that different from before. There were still even homies who took lifespan away. One of Jaw's children had already eaten the soul fruit and has now put Totoland into working order once more. In Sengoku's office, there were 3 admirals, Garp, and even the Gorosei were here. "We need to get rid of Jaw at all costs," says one of the elders with a thick mustache. "It's no longer a fight just between us and the Yonko. Only he or the world government survives. Even back in the day, Rox was better than this. Rox was reckless and there was no working together within his crew. Jaw, on the other hand, has all of his children under control and they will listen to any of his orders. He has to die immediately, there is no other outcome." Sengoku nods at this. "That is true, we must keep quiet and give one all-out attack against Jaw. This is the only thing we can do at the moment." Garp, on the other hand, frowns at this. He doesn't like even looking at the Gorosei's scummy faces. Much less be in the same room as them for long periods of time. "We won't need to go to him, he will come at us," says Garp suddenly, surprising everyone in the room. He usually doesn't talk or give a lot of input during these meetings. He said to me to not interfere and his emotions moved a certain way as he said that, leading me to believe that he wants me to not interfere during the attack, whenever that will be. Everyone in the room frowns at that. They are confused about why Jaw would say something like that. Even though not everyone in the room currently likes Garp, they all know that he won't betray the Marines or the world government. "What is that bastard thinking?" wonders the elder with a sword in his hand and with an angry look on his face. Though none of them want to admit it, Jaw's terrifying strategies and mind are what is even more terrifying than his personal strength in their eyes. "Well, we know that he must at least have a plan at least." The others nod at this. Kizaru has a strange look in his eyes as he sees this happening. This has become quite the complicated situation, but Jaw at the moment is unlikely to attack. His children are weak and he doesn't seem like the guy who is willing to sacrifice any of them. Sengoku suddenly smiles. "I know now what must be done." The next day, Jaw got a bounty raise. He is now worth 5,500,000,000 asset, higher than Whitebeard and almost at Roger's level. His threat to the world government is higher than any of the Yonko now. Chapter 96, Dead Cat's Devil Fruit. While Naruto and the rest of the Straw Hats left Little Garden due to already getting an eternal log post to Alabasta. But suddenly Nami falls sick and they have to find a doctor. Dead Cat observes the situation and he can't help but contemplate the things that are happening. He himself has gotten closer to the Straw Hats, and if he said that he didn't care about them, then he would be lying. He will follow Jaw's orders to always protect Naruto. He sighs a little at this. He hasn't used the full power of his fruit in a long time. He has been using the passive effect of his fruit ever since he has eaten it. But now he must use its full power. Suddenly the cat who is sitting on the ground starts to change as its paws turn into small human hands. Its legs change into short human feet, and a puff of smoke, a green outfit appears around him, a red beard grows on him. He is about a dwarf size and he is currently in his hybrid form. This fruit doesn't really increase strength, endurance, it has only a very slight increase in agility. What this fruit enhances is something else. Mythical Zoan. Human fruit model, Leprechaun. It increases the user's luck, it gives the user no real fighting abilities. But it still gives them some nifty abilities. One of them is the ability to have 2 pouches, one is full of silver coins that return back to the pouch after they have been paid out. The other pouch has only 1 gold coin in it that can be used to get out of a perilous situation. Though it still takes some time before it can be used again, Dead Cat feels like this would be the right situation. He takes out the golden coin and he says out loud, "Let Nami, of the Straw Hat Pirates, find a way to be healed." The golden coin turns to steam and disappears. Dead Cat only hopes that this is enough. He hopes that at least now his passive luck glow affecting the crew, and him using the golden coin should increase their chances of success tremendously. But even he knows that this ability is limited and it can't make something impossible happen. Now I can only hope for the best, thinks Dead Cat as he returns back to his cat form. He doesn't tell anyone about this, because he doesn't want to be thanked for it and such. I also have a scummy reputation to uphold. In Marineford, inside the office of Vice Admiral Itachi, he is sitting as he looks at the new report that was just handed to him. The report read, Jaws Spawn Extermination Plan. It's a thick pile of pages explaining the Marines' plans to capture and exterminate Jaws children one by one. Itachi has a calm look on the outside as he sees this. He knows that even if his dad predicted something like this, then he wouldn't be able to protect his siblings. After all, even his father is not omnipotent. But with this detailed report, ponders Itachi, a small, almost unnoticeable smirk appears on his face. It truly was the right decision to join the Marines. A couple of days later and Itachi's report had already reached them. Currently, on the training side of the York New Island, Kisame has an angry look on his face as he punches another machine. Bomb! He destroys the punching machine without even truly trying at all. He didn't even use hockey at all. His raw physical power had long since surpassed 10,000 Doriki, so no machine can handle his power anymore. In raw strength amongst the fishmen, he is only second to his father. Damn it! Exclaims Kisame, he hates to admit it. But he is not the strongest amongst his siblings anymore. Not only has Kakashi surpassed him, lately so has Nagato with his float fruit. Why am I so weak? Though he is happy that his family is getting stronger, he hasn't felt this powerless in a long time. No, he has never felt this powerless in his life. He can't beat his siblings even with his observation hockey which he uses to see the future. True, the battles last dozens of hours, but he still loses in the end. Dad was able to defeat people who have had both of these fruits for decades longer than my siblings, and he did so easily both times. The battles didn't even last minutes. Thinks Kisame out loud as he sits down and contemplates. Some of his siblings just look at Kisame acting like that. They are quite far away so Kisame doesn't notice them. Kakashi shrugs at this. You know Kisame, he likes to act dramatic during situations like this. He will get over it, just like he always does. Urza looks at this and shrugs. What is he up to it again? He is probably angry now that he got the news from Itachi. Escanor is also amongst them and says, well, his physical power matches mine and I have a devil fruit that especially helps with that. When he does sh*t like this makes me seem even weaker. Kakashi sighs at this. Welp, I am gonna go and put some common sense on his head. Bzzzzzzzt. He disappears in a lightning bolt. Kisame was thinking when Kakashi appears next to him and says, Dumb *SS, use your advantages against any devil fruit user, sea stone and waterwork also. That is true! Exclaims Kisame suddenly. Kakashi just looks at him in annoyance. The siblings look at this and Urza snorts at that. Kakashi is such a tsundere. A small zap of lightning hits Urza as Kakashi can still hear what she is saying due to his observation hockey and devil fruit. Ow. He is annoying as hell. Exclaims Urza in annoyance, that gets her another zap in return. Her siblings smile slightly at this. On the other hand, the Straw Hats don't meet Wapol at all at sea. Actually, Wapol has an accident out of nowhere and almost drowns. The Straw Hats arrive at Drum Island and as they do so, they are stopped by some people protecting the country. Since Blackbeard had just recently attacked, they were on guard. Though Vivi doesn't get shot on the arm accidentally and Naruto does the talking, he is surprisingly able to convince the people to let them on the island. Luckily Dr. Kureha was in town and she took a look at Nami. The situation went well as it was expected and the Straw Hats didn't have to go through any unnecessary trouble. Kureha looks at Naruto and with one look she figures something out as she smiles. Hey kid, let me experiment on your body. That is all the payment you will need to have for me for healing your friend. Gah! Naruto yells out loudly and uses his hands to cover his body. I am about to be weirdly touched by an old woman. Kureha smiles at that and throws a knife at Naruto. I am only 140 years old, brat. I am in the spring of my youth. Naruto stops and looks at her. Nah, you are an old hag. Swish! Another knife flies at his head, but Naruto dodges and runs away. Oh! The old hag is gonna kill me because I resisted her advances. Chapter 97, Lady Luck, she is a loose lady. As Naruto runs away, Kureha just frowns at him. Dead cat's eyes at this, he looks at the reindeer wearing a red hat and clothes. Can you talk too? Asks Dead Cat, he already noticed the deer acting strangely. Is this somehow the luck working on my favor? Dead Cat might be the user of the leprechaun fruit, but it is a very strange fruit and it works in mysterious ways. Some would say that it doesn't have the power to manipulate luck as they don't have any way to prove it. And the good things happening could all just be coincidences. Chopper looks at the strange cat and his eyes widen in surprise. He had never met a monster like himself, so he was more than a little surprised. Kureha is also a little surprised and looks at the black cat, but she doesn't bother too much and turns to look back to Nami, who is lying down on a bed. The girl will need to rest for a couple of days before you can start your voyage once again, says Kureha as he takes a swing of her bottle of beer. She then narrows her eyes as she looks at the door that Naruto walked off. That kid, he looks like someone I know, don't tell me, he. Naruto runs for a little bit and then stops and breathes heavily. Damn, that pedo grandma, hope I never see her again. That was creepy as hell. As Naruto has run so much, he sees that he has reached the shore. He sits down on the snow and sighs. Thankfully everything worked out for us. We were extremely fortunate for things to work out this way. As he is wondering that, he sees a ship in the distance. It seemed like a pirate ship? He narrows his eyes slightly at this. Who are they? Wonder Naruto as he uses Jeppo and kicks off the air. As he gets close, he just jumps on the ship and sees some strange people. One of them has a weird mouth and he seems to be eating a cannon. Oi! Who are you guys? Asks Naruto curiously. He looks around and sees that they are all looking at him with surprised looks on their faces as they saw him previously fly on their ship. Once the overly obese purple-haired man finishes eating the cannon, he looks at Naruto. Oi! Who are you, stupid brat? Naruto blinks at the man a couple of times and he uses Saru, kicking off the ground over 10 times and disappearing from everyone's sight. Fwash! Zipper decapitation. Wapple's head flies off and he has a shocked look on his face. Naruto then grabs Wapple's head and says out loud as the muscles in his arm expand. Baseball. Armstrong pitch. Fwash! Wapple's head flies off, and Naruto without a care in the world walks away. Chess and Kuramarumo go to attack Naruto, who just decapitates them with his fruit and throws their heads away too. He sees the people look at him in shocks. What you looking at? I am not gonna let anyone insult me like that, says Naruto casually. He then looks at the people around him confused. By the way, who are you guys? You come here and kill all of our strongest fighters without even knowing who we are, exclaims the people on the ship. As Naruto hears that, he cracks his fingers and a scary look in his eyes says, Did you just call me stupid? The people are all intimidated and yell out, No, we didn't. Naruto narrows his eyes at this. The only people who he will allow to call him stupid are his family. Anyone else says that and they will beat them up. Even the Straw Hats don't call him stupid. The people in the ship are scared and don't know what Naruto will do next. They swallow in nervousness as Naruto in the end just says, Oh, okay then, CYA. He kicks off the air and starts flying away. The people on the ship look at each other and one of them says, So what do we do now? I dunno, we go back home? Then the 20 doctors named the Ishin 20 come forward and say, We will be returning to the Drum Kingdom and be under the people's service. Now that Wapple is no longer here, we are free. Naruto did all of this without having any idea who he even attacked. He was truly lucky doing this. It was almost as if the Mistress of Luck had spread her legs for him. Jaw POV. I look at Itachi's latest report and frown a little. It seems like the world government has finally seen my true colors and wants to get rid of me. It must also be trying to delete me and my family from the history of the world or something like that. Well, in the end, it doesn't matter. I am so close to the climax of my plan, the phase where everything will fall into place, and by then it will be too late for the world government to even do anything. They can crawl in their little castles as I smash the Grand Line. It doesn't matter how strong him thinks he is or how strong he really is. When I sink Mary Geos to the bottom of the ocean, we will see how pretty his little throne will be. Still, though, I hope the Marines send an admiral to kill. That would be such a helpful thing. It would actually raise the chances of me winning quite exponentially. Thankfully luck is on my side at least. I have 3 luck manipulating / enhancing devil fruit users. One of them is Dead Cat, and he went with Naruto, so he doesn't count. But I still have 2 of them now, and they have been using their abilities. One has accumulated as much luck as they could, so when the time comes, all that luck will flow into me and raise my chances of succeeding. Having these devil fruits on my side is like I am doing it with Lady Luck. Still, just having luck on my side means nothing, and if word gets out that I have this thing on my side, luck-enhancing abilities are easy to counter. So only my closest confidants know of this. General POV. Chopper finally decides to join the Straw Hats. Even Kureha was okay with it as Chopper met someone like him. Another talking animal. And so, the Straw Hats all set sail once again, this time directly to Alabasta. The Straw Hats finally reached the port town of Nanohana in the desert kingdom of Alabasta. Their journey was uneventful and they didn't truly meet anyone. Luffy, hungry from the long journey, storms off into town without waiting for his crew. Naruto also follows him along. At a bar, he interrupts a confrontation between a man named Porkasti, Ace, and Captain Smoker of the Marines, knocking both through the wall without his noticing. Luffy grabs a lot of meat but flees when Smoker stands back up and gives chase. During this whole time, Naruto just goes to the restaurant and eats like he has no care in the world. "Damn, that looks bad," says Naruto as he munches down on some food. When he sees that people are distracted by Ace and Smoker fighting, he opens a zipper in his abdomen and steals a bunch of water and food. "Hey! What are you doing?" exclaims a female voice. Naruto cringes as he looks at the side and sees a girl with glasses and a short bowl haircut. She is Tashigi, and she yelled at Naruto as she saw him stealing. Munch munch munch. He just eats as he looks at her casually. He is trying to remember as he feels like he has seen her from somewhere. Munch munch munch. "Will you stop eating?" yells Tashigi, annoyed at Naruto. Have I met you somewhere before?" questions Naruto, confused by this. Suddenly a look of realization draws on Tashigi. Chapter 98, Mikoto. Naruto looks at the woman in front of him with calm eyes. He then suddenly realizes. "Oh! I remember now, you are that woman who fought against Zoro and horribly lost in a sword fight." Tashigi blushed at this slightly and pulls out her sword and pointed it at Naruto. "By the way, you are addressing pirate hunter Zoro so familiarly, it would be safe to assume that you are familiar with him. It would be safe to assume that you are one of the Straw Hats due to you being here in Alabasta." Though Tashigi is saying all that, Naruto is not truly paying attention to her at all. Instead, he has a wandering look on his face as he says, "Well, I guess if you could have even called that a fight. It was shameful as hell. Will you stop talking about the fight already? And give up now?" exclaims Tashigi. She is tempted to swing her sword. But she isn't quite reckless to do that, as Naruto could be just a simple associate of the pirates, and that technically isn't illegal. Especially considering that selling / buying and generally having such deals with pirates is not considered illegal. Sure, the Marines could pursue that claim to criminal activity, but it's only in rare cases. Naruto just looks at her again. "Are you okay?" "Huh? Why wouldn't I be okay?" asks Tashigi back, confused by Naruto's out-of-nowhere question. "No, you just seem flustered and angry," says Naruto. He has a worried look on his face that instinctively puts Tashigi off guard. That means that you must be tired from your work and too stressed out about something. You can talk to me about it if you want. Huh. I guess the work has been too stressful as of late. Why don't change the subject? You are under arrest for suspicion of collusion with the Straw Hats. Yells out to Shiji, and she points her sword at Naruto, who had now eaten all his food. He put a thoughtful look on his face, and in the end, he put his hands up. I see, so I am put in quite the hard situation now. As Naruto says that, he clenches his hand and a zipper appears on his palm. He takes a small smoke bomb and throws it on the ground. Poof! Smoke bomb escape, says Naruto mysteriously. But he bangs his head twice and stumbles 3 times before he can leave the restaurant and run away. In the end, he uses Jeppo to fly off. He sees the Going Merry, and a giant fire fist obliterates some of the Baroque workships. In the end, Naruto just went to the Going Merry and told the rest of the crew members. Okay guys, I will be taking Dead Cat with me as I found something really interesting, so CYA. The other Straw Hats don't even have time to react as Naruto takes Dead Cat and forcefully shoves the creature in his dimension. It doesn't take long for Naruto to arrive at a suspiciously familiar scene. He just enters another restaurant on the outskirts of the city, and he looked at the person in front of him and blinked a couple of times. Mikoto? Questions Naruto. How could his sister be here? She smiles at him and clenches her fist. Bomb! She hits him in the head, and Naruto crouches down in pain as he can feel the hit hurt quite badly due to his sister using quite some power behind her attack. You just disappear out of nowhere, never call, never write, never anything. I was worried about you, little brother, says Mikoto with a fake sad look in her eyes. I almost killed your whole crew because I thought that you no longer cared about your family. And no sis, it's not like that at all, says Naruto. He knows that Mikoto is a kind sister. She could be joking about this, or she could be telling the truth. He knows that Mikoto can go from happy to murderous in a split second. He wouldn't like to take the chance of his crew being killed. He knows that if Mikoto decided to kill the Straw Hats, there was nothing any of them could do. Mikoto might not be some Kisame or Kakashi, but she is monstrous too. He knows just how scarily good the control over her fruit is. So, why did you decide to contact me, sis? Asks Naruto, out of nervousness as he didn't actually know what else to say. Well, says Mikoto. She leaves the answer lingering around a little. You know that next there is a chance you will arrive at Jaya. That place is under Dad's control. So don't cause a ruckus there. Don't let your crew even insinuate anything bad about Dad, because then we will have to kill your crewmates sadly. Naruto swallows and nods at that. He knows that it's a bad idea to do something like that. He might not be the smartest guy around, but he isn't mentally challenged. Is that it? Questions Naruto, unsure of what to do in this awkward situation. After all, his sister did just threaten to kill his whole crew like it was nothing. Yep, says Mikoto. Oi! Bring me some ice cream. Naruto sighs at that and gets up. Sorry, but I will have to go and help my crew now. Mikoto nods. I understand. They are currently walking in a desert and have just been tricked by some birds that stole their food. Oh! Draws on Naruto. His sister knew where his crewmates were too. As Naruto walks outside, Mikoto smiles at this slightly. She looks to the side as another girl wearing a maid outfit appears. She has her hair on a long ponytail and a smile on her face. She is Ino, 15 years old, and one of Jaw's daughters. Of course, they were not here to just warn Naruto. They had a poneglyph to get, and Ino has the memory fruit now. And they have a mission to complete. Nico Robin, a woman who has betrayed every organization she has been in, contemplates Mikoto as a waitress delivers her ice cream. She takes a huge bite and cringes slightly as she gets a brain freeze. No one else in this world can read the poneglyphs except her. Now, Dad doesn't trust someone like Nico Robin at all. Only a fool would trust her. Crocodile is a fool too, as he has let her be his close confidant. She has already betrayed him multiple times. Makoto looks at Ino and a sweet smile on her face. She can't help but sigh at her little sister. You can't kill the Straw Hats, Ino, says Makoto suddenly. This jolts Ino slightly as she looks at her sister. Oh, sorry, did my bloodlust give it away? No, I just assumed that you would plan to do that, says Makoto. Ino shrugs at this. Well, this monkey D, Luffy, he is Dragon's son, Garp's grandson, and even Shanks has given up an arm for him. I wonder if we should take him hostage, that way we can keep Garp neutral, and have Dragon and Shanks come to our side? Chapter 99, Killing. Naruto after that goes to the rain base, he uses a boat and then Jeppo to go to the place where Crocodile's casino lies. Once he saw that he swallowed hard as greed settled on his eyes. I want to rob this place so bad, says Naruto out loud. Cat kick. Bomb! Naruto is hit on the face by Dead Cat. Oi! You dumbass, don't say stuff like that in public. Naruto looks around and sees that a bunch of people is looking at him. He gets up and smiles. Ha ha ha, don't worry, I have no plans to rob that place. After all, it belongs to Crocodile, the guy who controls the country from the shadows. I would be dumb to mess with someone like that. Dead Cat's face pales as he looks at Naruto. You dumb sh*t, you can never keep your mouth shut. Cat kick, cat kick, cat kick. Dead Cat kicks Naruto so much that he is thrown into an alley and beaten some more. Why can't you ever learn some common sense? Even with all the luck in the world you would get us killed. 1 hour later and Naruto exchanges some of the gold and diamond from Crete for money. He only got 3 million eset, he didn't need any more money. He went to a restaurant and started eating, and so does Dead Cat. But the latter stops as it looks at two specific people in the restaurant. It's Tashigi and Smoker talking about the Straw Hats. Does my fruit really raise luck or does it actually worsen it? Damn it, this fruit of mine is a scam. Complains Dead Cat internally. He nudges Naruto and says, Oi! Naruto, we need to get out of here. Naruto has his cheeks puffed up and his mouth is full of food. Aha, Justin and Shu? What do you mean? Dead Cat looks at him weirdly and nervously. He sees that Smoker hadn't noticed him at all. Naruto. Dead Cat clears its throat. We need to get out of here, don't turn to look. But Smoker and that subordinate of his are here. Gulp. Naruto swallows his food and almost chokes as he hears Dead Cat say that. But he drinks some water to swallow down his food. Wait, really? Smoker and Tashigi are here? Where? Questions Naruto as he looks around. Dead Cat has a dead look on his face as he looks at Naruto. This kid, he is gonna be my death one day. How the foo *k did someone scarily smart like Jaw, who seems like he knows the future, made someone like Naruto? Smoker turns around to look, but not at Naruto as two people barge into the restaurant. Hey Pops, give us the biggest barrels of water you have, exclaims Luffy, and Usopp nod at this. The bartender brings the 2 barrels of water and they start drinking. Suddenly they notice Smoker and Tashigi looking at them. Spurt! They both spew out the water out of their mouths and cover both Tashigi and Smoker in water. Then they start running from Smoker, with the man chasing after them. Dead Cat looks at this and is glad on the inside. Oh, I goddamn love this fruit of mine. Later on, Luffy, Usopp, Zoro, Nami, and Smoker, who was chasing them, were trapped by Crocodile. The cage that they are trapped in is a sea stone cage. Crocodile mocks them as he does so. He sits down in a chair in front of them, telling them of his plan. Nico Robin just sits by the side with a mysterious look on her eyes. Vivi was on the ground crying out of helplessness. Yo! Anyone here? Comes a sudden voice surprising everyone. Crocodile is surprised as he turns towards the stairs and sees Naruto with Dead Cat on his shoulder. Naruto looks at Crocodile and he recognizes him. Oh! You must be Crocodile. He then bows down, surprising everyone. Sorry, but I just robbed your casino blind. Apologizes Naruto with a casual look on his face, and then he looks at Crocodile. Now with that said, I will proceed whooping your ass, Mr. Loser of the New World. That annoys Crocodile a little, but he is a logical man. He knows that anger is useless in a fight, or in anything truly. Brat, you sure say some big things for someone so small, says Crocodile, insinuating that Naruto is too weak to even say things like that. But this passes over Naruto's head as he gets annoyed and yells at Crocodile. Oi! You said I'm short? I will show you shortly, you piece of Saru. Fwish! Naruto disappears from his previous position, and before Crocodile can even react, Naruto touches his neck. Zipper decapitation. Crocodile's head floats off and Naruto smiles. Why you did it? Questions Vivi, who is full of despair, but now she has some hope in her heart. Naruto turns around and looks at Vivi coolly. I am goddamn cool in a dash. As he says that, he feels his instincts scream at him as he jumps forward. He sees that it was a hand made out of sand. Naruto's eyes widen at this. Damn, you are a Logia, declares Naruto. This is the worst type of opponent he can fight against. His zipper fruit becomes useless at this. But suddenly Naruto's frown morphs into a smile. Since Crocodile is just a Shichibukai, he still can't be as good as Kakashi at using his fruit. Saru. Naruto disappears from everyone's view once more. But still, Crocodile smiles at this. Already told you, brat, physical high dash. Bomb! Suddenly Crocodile feels a hit to his stomach and he spits a mouthful of blood. Crocodile and Smoker's eyes widen as they look at Naruto. They both know what he just did. Hockey! Crocodile got back up, and this time he has a serious expression on his face. Who the hell are you, brat? Naruto smiles at that. My name is Naruto, and I am here to whoop your ass. We will see about that, says Crocodile as the lower part of his body turns into sand and he floats toward Naruto. Desert Spada. Fwash! A giant blade-like construct is shot at Naruto, who only clenches his fist and concentrates his haki on it. Though he can't use hardening yet, so his armament haki is invisible to the naked eye. Bomb! Naruto punches the construct and destroys it. But he immediately understands that was the wrong move, as he can't sense where Crocodile is any longer. Fwish! Desert. A wave of sand runs through Naruto's midsection. He immediately uses Tekai. But instead of it hitting him, the sand goes right through. The lower part of Naruto's body turns dry and mummy-like. Bomb! Naruto falls on the ground at this. He can feel the lower part of his organs getting their liquids drained. Oh, sh*t, this is bad. I can't feel my lower body, ponders Naruto as he looks at Crocodile. Just because you got haki and could hit me means nothing, as you became an arrogant little brat, says Crocodile, mocking Naruto for thinking that just because he has haki, he started thinking that he could easily beat Crocodile. Naruto! Yells Luffy inside the cage as Nami's eyes widen in shock, her face pale, so are Usopp's and Vivi's. Zoro, on the other hand, has another thing to say. Oi! You bastard, don't die here. Chapter 100, Meeting Naruto's Siblings. As Luffy yells at that, a zipper opens in Naruto's stomach and dead cat comes out. Crocodile just looks at the cat. He knows better than to underestimate it. He had the unluckies as animals, but the cat just looks at him, and in the end, it looks at Naruto and says, You definitely won't have a happy ending to your life. You have just messed with the worst person you could have messed with. As Dead Cat says that, he has a serious look on his face. Crocodile, on the other hand, doesn't believe the cat. For all he knows, the damn animal could be lying. He extends his hand to finish off Naruto. Fwish! Suddenly Naruto's hand moves and he grabs a hold of Crocodile's wrist. Crack! A loud crack is heard as Crocodile winces a little. He looks at Naruto and sees that the young man has his eyes opened and they are looking at him with unprecedented rage. They had turned completely red, as if countless blood vessels in the eyes had ruptured. Growling Naruto gives the vibe of a wild animal now. He immediately punches towards Crocodile, his fist infused with haki. But Crocodile casually dodges the attack and touches Naruto's face, drawing all of the water from his body, making him appear mummy-like. "Dumbass," says Crocodile. "You think being angry and acting like a rabid dog will help you win a fight? No, you act like a mad dog and you get put down like one." Luffy, on the other hand, was grinding his teeth as his hands touched the cage, so they immediately weakened him and he fell down. "And Naruto," says Nami as she has an unsure look on her eyes as she looks at Naruto all dried up and such. He can't be dead. Tears come out of Usopp's eyes as he says, "Oi! Naruto! You can't die like this. Remember, we are gonna have an adventure on the Grand Line together." But even with everyone's pleas, Naruto did not move a muscle. Dead Cat was getting nervous as hell too. In the end, the tip of Dead Cat's tail moves and reveals a barrel inside. Pow! A gunshot is heard as it hits the glass towards where the banana crocodiles were. But the glass didn't even crack at that. Crocodile just snorts at this mockingly. Trash. With that he walks away. But as he does so, he stops and turns around. He goes back to Naruto's mummy-like body and takes off his hook, revealing a thinner hook with leaking poison inside it. "Oi! Please stop!" begs Luffy as he sees his friend about to be hurt. Swish! Crocodile stabs his hook on Naruto's stomach. "Just to be sure, one can never be safe with these things," says Crocodile as he starts walking away. Robin looks at this uncomfortably, but in the end, she follows Crocodile. Dead Cat immediately goes into action, transforming into his leprechaun form and taking out his golden coin. Let Naruto survive this ordeal. As soon as he says that, crack! Boom! The glass is broken and water gushes into the room. Immediately it covers Naruto and Dead Cat. "Nami Swan, Vivi. Chuan. I have come to save you," comes a voice. It is Sanji pacing around with his love-struck eyes. "Oi! Sanji, check on Naruto!" yells Usopp, and seeing the desperation on everyone's faces, Sanji becomes serious and looks for Naruto. He finds both Naruto and Dead Cat sprawled underwater. As he picks up Naruto, the whiskered blonde yells out, "What? I am alive to see another day. Almost thought I died there." Dead Cat just jumps on Naruto's head and coughs a little, and after that, it exclaims with a pale face, "Holy sh*t. I actually thought this might be the end. Naruto, you are alive!" yell the caged Straw Hats in joy. Suddenly crocodiles start entering the room. Naruto punched one of them, which luckily coughed out a white ball. It appears to be Mr. 3. Naruto just cracks his knuckles and the man listens to him to open the locks. He doesn't exactly want to fight against the man who previously one-shot him. And as the water was coming up to their knees, the devil fruit users knew that they would be in big trouble if that happens. So Mr. 3 creates a key and uses it to open everyone's cell. In the end, the non-devil fruit users pick the devil fruit users and swim them to safety. Naruto is picked up by Nami as she swims upwards. They finally arrive at the shore and Smoker asks Zoro why he saved his life. Zoro says that it was Luffy's order, and so the situation develops into a strange one as Smoker finally decides to let Luffy and his crew go this time. After that comes the next move from the Straw Hats. Vivi says that they can't return back to where they came from, instead they should just cross the river and go to Alyabarna, the capital, the place where the rebels will most likely attack soon. Crocodile truly spoke a lot about his plans. But as they were walking they all stumble upon a crab, and they travel on the crab. Vivi tells them that it's a land crab so it can't travel in water. "Oh, you don't have to worry then. I will take you there," says a voice out of nowhere, surprising each of them as they turn and look at where the voice came from. They see a dark-haired and dark-eyed beautiful female wearing a short white kimono and dark pants. Everyone was unnerved, as she appears in the middle of their group in the crab, with no one noticing. Where did she come from? She feels dangerous. Contemplates Zoro as he is about to pull out his 3 swords. but his eyes widen as he can feel his fingers not touching anything. He looks down and sees that all of his swords are gone. Wow, these swords suck. Except for the one with the white scabbard. Says another sudden voice. They turn and see a girl who had blue eyes, a beautiful face, and long blonde hair tied in a ponytail. The black-haired one is Makoto, and the blonde is Ino. Sanji has hearts in his eyes as he asks, "How can I help you, ladies?" Ino has that permanent smile on her face as she casually says, "Yeah, I would like your left kidney. I plan to sell it and get some money to buy some clothes, tee." She even makes a cute gesture at the end, which makes Sanji bleed from his nose. Suddenly Naruto speaks. "Makoto ne-san." "Ino! Whatcha doing here?" "Ne-san?" questions the crew as their eyes widen and they exclaim. "What?" Ino laughs at this. "Ha ha ha, big bro Naruto, you shouldn't be so surprised. We are going to Alyabarna too. We have some business there too. Oi! Blondie, give me back my swords," says Zoro as he looks at the blonde girl. Though he understood that she is Naruto's sister, he wasn't as on guard anymore. "Okay, will you let me keep the white-sheathed one? Pretty please?" asks Ino as she winks at Zoro seductively. Zoro shakes his head. "No, it's a gift from an old friend of mine. That sword represents my promise to her." Once Ino sees Zoro acting like this, she pouts and gives the swords back. She then looks around and sees Chopper. "Whoa! That is a reindeer! So cool!" Makoto smiles at the crew sweetly. This makes Sanji have hearts in his eyes as he sees this. Melori. So you are Naruto's big sister?" asks Nami as she looks at Naruto and then at Makoto. They have no real resemblance. But then she looks at Ino and she sees almost a female Naruto, except the whiskers, and Ino is a pretty female. "So how are you gonna get us across from here?" asks Luffy curiously. Makoto smiles at that and she touches the crab that they are riding on as they get closer to the water. Mark travel. Fwash! Out of nowhere, the crab starts flying at breakneck speeds toward the capital of Alabasta. "Hold on," says Makoto with a smile on her face. "You should have told us that from the beginning," yell the others as they hold into the crab as if their life depends on it. All this time Makoto has a gentle and elegant smile on her face as she easily sits on top of the crab. Chapter 101, Ancient Language. It doesn't take even 3 minutes as Makoto, Ino, and the Straw Hats reach the capital. Luffy has a huge smile on his face as this happens. "Whoa! This is amazing. Wanna join my crew?" As he asks that, Makoto only gently smiles at this. "No thank you. I am already a part of a crew." Luffy is a little disappointed at that, but Ino on the other hand laughs at this. Ha ha ha. Still, though, she is laughing, but a dangerous glint appears on her eyes now that she looked at Luffy. Makoto notices this and narrows her eyes at Ino, giving her an unspoken message to not do anything. Ino only scratches the back of her head nervously and has a cute smile on her face. Tee. In the end, as they are about to forcefully land in Alyabarna, Makoto controls her fruit to slow down the velocity. Though her fruit still has the same attributes of going after a target, she can control things like the velocity of an object she throws, so her fruit doesn't seem at all like the same fruit that she got. In the end, they land safely in the palace and they are surrounded by guards. "Who are you?" calls out one of the guards. They all have their weapons pointed at us, but then Vivi comes out and looks at the guards. "Wait! They are my friends. We are here to stop the rebellion," announces Vivi, her eyes full of conviction at this. "In 5 hours the rebels will attack the palace. That must be stopped at all costs." She then gets the news that her father has been likely kidnapped as he hasn't been seen in a long time. This makes everyone nervous. But Vivi doesn't let it bother her as she takes charge. While this was all happening, Makoto and Ino say some light goodbyes and walk away. 5 hours later and the rebels can be seen on the horizon. Vivi is about to yell at them to stop, but suddenly a cannon rings out from one of the royal sides as they shoot at the rebels. That is what all chaos erupts. Makoto and Ino have a whole other thing going on as they go towards the yard of the palace and open a secret compartment and open it. Ino smiles at this. The memories I got from the king are truly useful. I also know that this is the real deal. This poneglyph has the coordinates of Pluton. Now we just need to get Demon Child, steal her memory, and I will learn how to read the poneglyphs too. Makoto nods at her sister's explanation. She was mostly sent here to assist Ino. Though her sister is strong, her memory fruit isn't suited for combat at all as it takes too long to activate it. Makoto on the other hand is perfect, though her bounty at the moment is only 500 million SZ. That doesn't mean that she is weak. Well, in comparison to some of her brothers she is kinda weak, but she never compares with her siblings. They arrive in front of a poneglyph and Makoto says, "Let's hide for a little and wait." As she says that, Ino nods, with her ever-present smile still on her face. Later on, inside the underground tomb, Robin comes in with the restrained King Cobra. He has blood coming out of him and is sitting on the ground to the side with an arm coming from his back restraining his arms. Robin immediately goes to read the poneglyph. "Did you find anything that you needed?" asks King Cobra curiously. He was worried that the girl in front of him might actually find Pluton. That is when another pair of footsteps is heard and Crocodile comes in. He has a little blood coming out of his mouth, but he seemed overall okay. "Can you read it?" asks Crocodile, referring to the poneglyph. Robin nods. "Yes." "Then read it out loud," demands Crocodile, the smile on his face very evident in his happiness. "Godzilla conquered and built this country in the year 239. Reads Robin as she goes along Alabasta's history. "In the year 269, the Dima family is the strongest." Robin continued reading on. But Crocodile was mad at that. Hey! Wait! Was that what we were looking for?" Robin looks at Crocodile calmly as his face morphs into an angry scowl. "I don't give a damn about this country's history. I want to know where the superweapon Pluton is." Reads Crocodile. "There is nothing like that," says Robin, her face neutral. "It is just history." "What?" asks Crocodile, confused by this outcome. Feeling that all these years he spent in this country were for nothing. "The word Pluton is nowhere in this poneglyph," elaborates Robin as she touches the ancient rock. "I see, that is pitifully then," says Crocodile, veins popping on his forehead. "Although you were such a good partner. I will kill you right here, right now." "Wow, now that is a beautiful thing to say," says a voice suddenly, surprising all of the inhabitants in the room. They turn to look and they see Makoto calmly walk towards them. Ino is behind her, with a smile on her face. Crocodile immediately gets nervous as he sees who they are. *T, this is bad, real bad. Jaw has an eye on Pluton too. "Now, would you step aside, Crocodile?" asks Makoto politely. "Don't worry, you will have a painless death for this." Crocodile gets angry as she says that. Normally he wouldn't care about such things, but his mind is currently in a little turmoil as the weapon that he wants isn't here. "I chose option C. I kill you all here and no one learns anything." As he says that, the lower part of his body turns into sand and charges towards Makoto. Makoto only snorts at this. "Dumbass. Saru. Fwish!" The next thing Crocodile feels is a fist smash on the top of his skull, obliterating a chunk of it and slamming him on the ground. Bomb! A crater is created where he slams his head. Makoto still has a calm look on her face. Sleep for a little but little Crocodile. Makoto's armament hockey is on a whole different level from Naruto's. She doesn't need the use of her fruit to defeat someone like Crocodile at all. Next, she appears behind Robin, and with a swift karate chop to her neck, she knocks her out. "Now, you should sleep a little bit too." Ink smiles at this and goes towards the knocked out Robin laying on the ground. She touches her side of the head, and like a movie film, Robin's memories come out. Ino skips the memories of her adulthood or very early childhood. She goes towards the memories of Robin's 6th to 8th years of life. Copy-paste. Suddenly the same film appears on Ino's other hand and she closes her eyes as the film flies to her head. She smiles as she opens her eyes and looks at the poneglyph in front of her. "Can you read it?" calmly asks Makoto. Ino's smile widens at the question. "Yes." Chapter 102, Unnamed. Luffy runs towards the underground temple-like building where Tashigi had just directed him towards. The young marine woman might be ashamed, but her sense of justice would never let someone like Crocodile walk away with a crime this big. As Luffy reaches the room and sees Crocodile, bleeding profusely from his head. Robin has a piercing wound on her side and she is breathing heavily. Her face is also flushed, meaning that she has a high temperature. Her body is trying to fight the poison that Crocodile injected on her. King Cobra is also knocked out to the side. The temple is also collapsing as he has pulled a secret switch. Makoto and Ino are already outside of the underground tomb. Ino has an excited look on her face. Makoto also has a smile on her face too. "Yes!" yells Ino out loudly. "We can now go and find Pluto." Makoto pats Ino on the head. They had pulled everything that their father had told them. The world government doesn't know that they are here. They modified King Cobra's, Crocodile's, and Robin's memories. Jaw had prepared this plan 100% for them. He had planned to the smallest detail. Nothing had gone wrong. Makoto was even a little shocked at her father's intelligence. Father's intelligence is truly scarier than his strength. It's honestly scarier than even the other Yonko banding together against our family. Contemplates Makoto. How did he even predict something as obscure as the actions of the Straw Hats? How did he know that they would have to travel across the river and I would meet them there? How did he even know how their log pose would move to certain islands? Makoto had countless questions in her head. She feels like she is trying to grasp an unreachable entity. Her father, the man who never has any weakness, any imperfections. We are his only weakness. Ponders Makoto. She sometimes can't help but wonder if her father would be better without some of them. She still remembers the time her father had to go and fight Big Mom in her own territory when Kisame was kidnapped. Even though he knew that it would be almost impossible to kill Big Mom there and he might lose his life. But she is also no fool. She knows that they are his strength too. While this was happening, Jaw, who was on the Grand Line, read the latest report of the marine attack on his children, who were actually just some random fishman children. He is currently sitting in a dining hall, his children around him. He smiles at them all. He truly loves each and every single one of them. He would kill any man who dared to hurt them. Kakashi is by his side and he has a worried look on his face. Jaw POV. I can sense Kakashi's emotions slightly fluctuate. I just give him a side glance and ask, "What's wrong, Kakashi?" I see my silver-haired son look at me and frown slightly. Unsure of what to say, but in the end, he asks me, "Dad, do you think that it will work?" I immediately know what he is asking. He is worried about my plan. He knows that if we fail this we will inevitably become enemies of the world. Probably die after it's all done and gone. Still, I make a confident look appear on my face and tell him, "You don't need to worry about such small things, Kakashi. The whole world is our enemy. Our family will never be safe if the world isn't under our control. Remember, Kakashi, not all treasure is silver and gold." Kakashi nods at this, taking out his small notebook and writing on it. I can't help but smile a little. Even though he has grown enough to be able to fight admirals, he will always be Kakashi, the kid who writes down everything important I say. General POV. Luffy defeats Crocodile, the bomb is stopped. That all happens in Alabasta. Makoto and Ino save the Straw Hats ship. After that, the Straw Hats took off and said their goodbye to Vivi. Unlike Kanon, they didn't have any X tattoos on their arms. But they still said their goodbyes as they started sailing. Later on, as they set sail, Nico Robin shows up. Wearing Nami's clothes, she can easily gain everyone's trust. Well, Naruto doesn't care about her background, and Zoro is on guard always. Suddenly a ship falls from above and they investigate and see that it was a ship that set sail over 100 years ago. They find an eternal log pose that points to Jaya. Naruto, Dead Cat, Robin, and Sanji. They drew lots on this. After that, the crew also sees that their log pose is pointing towards the sky. The Straw Hats are confused. Naruto looks at the log pose. Oh! It's probably a sky island then. As Naruto says that, everyone looks at him weirdly. Sky Island? Questions Nami. I mean the Grand Line is a weird place, but Sky Island? Naruto nods at that. Sanji brings out some snacks and the crew eats them. It's true, says Naruto. Luffy and the others gain excited looks on their faces. I have even been at one before. Yeah. We're going to Sky Island, yells out Luffy. Nami sighs at this. She can't lie and say that she isn't excited about this. So how do we get there then? Asks Nami. Naruto looks at her and thinks about a solution. But he still only shrugs. I dunno, we usually got there by flying ships. Flying ships? Questions Zoro. He has never heard of this. Yep, confirms Naruto. Big bro Nagato just used his fruit. Or even Mikoto sometimes took us there by using hers. Then how do we get there? We can't fly. Contemplates Luffy. Naruto just shrugs at this again. Sanji then looks at the eternal pose that they got from the old shipwreckage and suggests, maybe we should go to this Jaya place? Robin immediately becomes a little nervous as she hears that. Jaya. Chopper is the one to notice this and he asks her, what's wrong, Robin? Robin is pulled out of her thoughts and looks at the little doctor with a slight smile on her face. Nothing, Dr. Chopper. Though she says that, she looks at the rest of the crew and says, Jaya would be a good place to go, but let me tell you about the unspoken rules in there, and the man who controls it. Everyone seems curious about what Robin is about to say. Well, the place is ruled by one of the monsters of the second half of the Grand Line. He is dangerous, if not the most dangerous man in the seas. Someone like Crocodile is nothing in front of him. Jinbe, another warlord, just like Crocodile, is under him. They say that Jinbe is like a dog that the man orders around. That man is one of the pirates standing at the peak of the world. The man closest to the One Piece, he is Sea Monster Jaw. Oh, you mean Dad? Says Naruto casually. Everyone is shocked. Well, more like Nami, Chopper, and Robin. The others knew about it but had no idea the man had such a strong influence. Chapter 103, A Man of 1,000 Women. Your father is the harem king? Questions Robin. She understands just what this means. Harem king. Sanji suddenly becomes shocked at what he heard. He is extremely jellied of this. Robin nods nervously. Yes, the man with 1,000 children. The harem king, Jaw's unofficial name. They say that he has over 100 women who have slept with him. His children are no. Zoro frowns at this slightly. He never thought that a man such as Jaw would be a pervert. Nami frowns a little as she looks at Naruto. Are you a fishman? Naruto nods at that. Yep, well, not a full fishman though. I am only half fishman. Nami nods and doesn't say anything anymore. Her head is in a little turmoil. After all, fishmen had been her nightmare for years. But she also knows that Naruto is someone who helped her. He is someone who risked his life for her, so she won't hate him for something like who he was born to. But in the end, she still says quietly after that, we also should still be very careful in Jaya. Warns Robin once more. Though now that we know that Naruto is Jaw's son, there is bound to be some leverage. But Jaw still isn't known as someone who is not soft on other people. Naruto nods at that. Yeah, that is actually true. As long as it's not his family, he will destroy other countries just because they might have insulted his child or something like that. Well, Kisame usually goes to destroy the country or something like it. Naruto talks about something like that so casually that it worries the others. Then, if a man does that with no remorse, he is considered evil. Says Sanji, remembering how his family would also destroy countries for money and other cheap things, in comparison to a whole country and how many lives they ruin. Naruto only shrugs at that. Well, we are all pirates so it doesn't matter anyway. Zoro nods at that. In the eyes of the world, there is no such a thing as a good pirate. Sanji just snorts in annoyance at that. But he doesn't say anything any further. He can see though the look on Naruto's face is nonchalant, the look on his eyes is full of violent tendencies. He made the right choice because even though Naruto is part of the Straw Hats, he knows where his heart lies. He would have tried to kill Sanji if he said another bad thing about his family. A couple of hours later and the Straw Hats arrive in Jaya. Naruto, Nami, Luffy, and Zoro go together towards the bars to search for information. Sanji and Usopp go towards the shops. Chopper is left to look after the ship as Robin goes out too. Dead Cat has been slumbering inside Naruto's dimension for quite some days now, so it couldn't keep Chopper company. As they walk towards the bar, Nami tells every one of them, "Do not make trouble here, okay?" "Sure," says Luffy with a smile on his face. As they walk into the bar they see many drunk people just making a ruckus all around. They went towards the counter and asked the bartender who has a thick mustache. "Excuse me, but do you know how to get to Sky Island?" asks Nami the bartender. As soon as she did so, everyone in the bar went quiet. The bartender who was washing some wine glasses also stopped. He looks at Nami and with a serious look on his face said, "Little girl, I don't think that is a question you should ask." Nami looks around and sees that everyone has stopped being rowdy and looked at them. This eerie silence unnerved her to no end. Luffy also clenched his fists and Zoro almost went for his swords. Naruto on the other hand is unconcerned by any of this. He knows how competent his father is, there is no way anyone would do something like a sneak attack against him here. And why would that be so? Questions Zoro, as he keeps a tight grip on his katanas. Though he doesn't pull them out of their sheaths yet. Because stupid questions will be given stupid answers. Says the bartender as he goes back to washing the glasses and the people in the bar go back to drinking, though they now aren't rowdy at all like they were before. Creak, the door to the bar opens once more and a blonde-haired man with a scar to the side of his eye comes in. He has a smile on his face and a crew of people following him. He is Bellamy the hyena and his crew. As expected of a stupid question, says Bellamy with a smile on his face. He sits down next to Luffy and points at him. "Oi! Old man, get a drink for the Straw Hat guy." "It's on me." The bartender nods and brings Luffy a drink. Luffy smiles and takes a sip while saying, "Oh, so you are a good Gudash." "Bomb!" He couldn't finish saying that as Bellamy bashed his head on the counter and broke it with Luffy's head. "You think asking such a thing about Sky Island is smart? Well, here is your reward," declares Bellamy. Zoro is about to pull out a sword and attack, but Luffy stops him by saying, "Zoro! No matter what, don't retaliate." As Luffy orders that Zoro puts back his swords and one of Bellamy's crewmates, the one with the long blue hair, comes and bashes Zoro's head on the ground too. "You damn disgrace for pirates!" exclaims Bellamy in disgust. He then looks at Naruto, who just looks at Zoro and Luffy being beaten up, having bottles breaking over their heads and such. "What about you? Are you with them?" asks Bellamy. Naruto nods. "Yep, what about it?" Bellamy gets up and is about to attack Naruto. But as he gets within the latter's arm's reach, Fwish! Bellamy's head flies off, and blood pours like a fountain from his neck stump. That shocks everyone. Naruto only has a calm look on his face as he sees Bellamy's body fall on the ground. Naruto only says one thing to the now dead Bellamy. "Dumbass." He then turns at Luffy and Zoro, both of who have blood all over their faces. They look at Naruto seriously and so does Nami. "Captain," says Naruto, "if you want to let yourself be humiliated and don't mind, Then so be it. I didn't become your crewmate because you were strong or anything like that. But if you do something like this again, and don't protect the Straw Hats when they are attacked, then I will be leaving the crew. A captain who doesn't even try to protect his friends and Nakama is no captain at all in my eyes. As Naruto says that, he gets up and starts walking away with an annoyed look on his face. Well said, says a voice suddenly. Everyone looks at the person who said that and their faces pale. Even Nami was shocked at it. She looked at Naruto and then at the other man. The man has spiky blonde hair, blue eyes, and a smirk on his face. He looks almost identical to Naruto, except that he seemed taller and had no whiskers on his face. Naruto is surprised at this slightly too. Minato? Chapter 104, The Responsible One. Minato? Says Naruto with a slightly confused look on his face. Yo! Greets Minato as he walks towards Naruto. Bellamy's crew had plans for revenge, but they immediately stop that. They know who Minato is. He is Jaw's son and the one who unofficially rules this island. The crewmates are about to run away, but Minato looks at them and smiles slightly. Well, hello there, say hi to Bellamy for me. As he says that, immediately the crewmates' faces pale and their eyes roll in the back of their head. Bomb! They fall to the ground and everyone is surprised at this. Even the bartender, who has some deep connections with Jaw, is creeped out by this. Damn, another monster appears in his family, says the bartender as he goes back to washing plates now. Are they dead just like that? Asked a random person in the bar. Minato has a smile on his face as he looks at Naruto. Damn, it's been years since I last saw you. Anyway, let's go out back, we can talk more freely in there, your crew can come too. Nami, Luffy, and Zoro casually follow them as they walk towards a door with a staff-only sign on it. As they enter, they see a cloaked man walk out. Neither of the parties says anything at that. In the end, they go to the second floor of the building and sit down on a balcony. They sit down at a table and some waiters come and bring some food. So why are you guys here? Asks Minato. He isn't. While that was happening, they didn't know that a man from the other side of Jaya Island was looking at them. 3 other strange people were sitting next to him. Zehahaha. Jaw's son. Minato, what was his bounty again? Questions one of the men. Marshal D. Teach, aka Blackbeard. Cough cough coughs a pale man next to Blackbeard. He has a pale look on his face. Captain Teach, can we even take him on? Cough. Van Augur, the sniper, has a serious look on his face. He is Silent Killer Minato, bounty, 400 million SZ. He is considered extremely dangerous and seems to only have gotten so well known recently on a marine base attack with his siblings. Jesus Burgess only flexes his muscles at this and says, Gihaha, don't worry Captain, I can take care of him by myself. Doc Q shakes his head at this. Cough, that wouldn't be smart, attacking him like this. Jaw isn't the type of man to let one of his weak children out of the new world. Blackbeard still has a smile on his face as he hears that. Zihaha, that doesn't matter at all. I know Jaw the best amongst us. During my time with the old man, I learned that he cares for his children a lot. We kill or capture him and we can give him to the world government, that way we start a war between them. Van Augur nods at this. I have a clear shot of him right now. Should I shoot? No, answers Blackbeard. We must wait till the little runts with him go away. He is strong, so no need to let some runts ruin it for us. Minato has no idea that someone was planning a hit against him while he was talking with his brother. You want to go to Sky Island? Well, I can get you there, says Minato with a smile on his face. You can? Exclaims Luffy in happiness as he is eating. Minato nods at this. Yep, since you can't fly your ship. I will just direct you to a friend of mine. He is Cricket. He has a friendly relationship with the Skypeans too, so you won't be attacked when you go up there by using the knock upstream. Minato introduces them to Cricket and he leaves them alone. though he can't help it as he smiles a little as he looks at Naruto. Dad would be proud of you, Naruto. A couple of days later in Minato from the balcony of his house on top of a mountain in Jaya. Naruto and the rest of the Straw Hats float upwards using the knockout stream. They can't help it, as they are all excited by this. Though some in the crew are terrified as they see that their ship truly takes flight. In a couple of minutes, they arrive in a sea of clouds. Naruto smiles at this. Yes, we did it. Back on the ground, Minato takes a sip of his cup of tea. He has a pleasant look on his face as he is pleased that his brother is having some fun at least. But he suddenly frowns as he looks at the bottom of the mountain. Someone has just entered the range of his observation haki. He gets up and narrows his eyes. He can see that it is Blackbeard and his crew. Teach? Ponders Minato. He was a little familiar with the man as he had seen at one of the feasts that Jaw and Whitebeard had. Blackbeard and the three others of his crew walk forward. Minato frowns as he can sense the malicious intent coming from them. He can also sense their strengths too. They are strong. Contemplates Minato. He takes out a small remote with only a red button on it. He presses the button and throws the thing on the ground. Blackbeard has a smile on his face as he looks at Minato jumping off the balcony and walking towards him. Marshal D, Teach, how may I help you? Asks Minato, his face casual as gets closer and closer to Blackbeard, walking down the mountain. We are here to give your head to the world government. Says Blackbeard with a smile on his face. A cold look appears on Minato's face as he hears that. I see, then you wouldn't mind dying, would you? Heard that Ace is looking for you, but I guess I will have to kill you first. Zehahaha. Laughs Blackbeard. I remember you when you were just a little brat. Can't say that you have grown stronger than back then. Minato got angry at this. As he did so, it clouded his observation haki, but he calmed down as Kakashi's words ring in his head as he remembers a memory when he was learning haki. Calm down, one must always be calm in order to use observation haki most optimally. Black hole, a suction force appears on Blackbeard's hand and Minato is sucked towards it. He frowns at this. Pew! He winces as a bullet hits him on his stomach and Jesus Burgess appears above him and punches Minato. Bomb! Crashing him on the ground, Blackbeard smiles as he almost gets a hold of Minato, but suddenly the ground shakes almost like an earthquake hits it. The whole island is shaking. Huh? Blackbeard looks confused as his eyes widen. The mountain in front of him was moving. It grew two short legs, eyes, and two crudely made stone arms. Is that mountain moving? Minato! Yells out the mountain as a mouth appears on it too. Should I kill them? Minato smiles at this and the clothes around his body start changing, taking the forms of a mechanical armor that protects him all over his body. Yes, kill them all, Gaia. Chapter 105, To the Sky We Go. As the giant mountain who has a part of Minato's soul moves, the whole island shakes. Blackbeard has a nervous look as he sees this. What the hell? Yells Blackbeard. This kid only has a 400 million SZ bounty. The giant creature then swings its fist against Blackbeard, who doesn't have time to dodge as his whole crew is hit by the giant stone fist. Boom! A whole canyon is formed at where the giant fist hits. Jaya Island shakes tremendously. It almost feels like it's being tilted over. Everyone on the island stumbles a little at this. The mountain's fist clocks backward and out of the hole. The Blackbeard pirates are all laying on the ground as they are heavily injured. Zehahaha. Laughs Blackbeard, he is all bloodied up. It seems like you are quite strong. I guess that is to be expected from the children of that monster. Minato has a calm look on his face, as he is now wearing a yellow suit that releases electricity every now and then. Yeah, this was pretty stupid of you, to come and challenge me. Nowhere in the seas will you be free. You will have to look over your shoulder and be afraid of your ship suddenly sinking. That will be the paranoia that you will have to live with for the rest of your life. Well, if that is what fate has in store for me, then so be it. says Blackbeard, unafraid of Minato's threat. To him, they were all just empty words and nothing more. Black hole. Foom! A curtain of darkness descends on the floor and it starts absorbing everything. Even the mountain Gaia. But Minato uses Jeppo and flies off. This must be the Yami Yami no Mi, the fruit that Dad used to talk about. Contemplates Minato, though he is acting like he is only observing what the fruit does. He knows exactly what the fruit does, so he knows that it's best to keep his distance in a situation like this. As soon as I get close he can nullify my power by grabbing me. So that means that I can't get close or I pretty much lose. Then that is easy. BZZZT. In a yellow flash, Minato moves on top of Gaia and looks at Teach who is below. Now this way, even if Blackbeard tries to attract him with a black hole and force him into contact, he can have Gaia stop him. Gaia, smash, says Minato nonchalantly. The giant mountain then pulls back its giant fists and Blackbeard looks at this a little nervously. This is bad, seems like we will need to run away. Minato hears this and smirks slightly. I wouldn't be so sure about running away either. As he said that, a giant tsunami of water rose and it has eyes and a mouth and it looks cartoonish. Yo! 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 Who should we kill today, Minato? Minato smiles at this and points at Blackbeard and his crew. Kill them all. Poseidon. Yo! 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 Straight to it as the giant talking wave says that it charges at Blackbeard and his crew. Blackbeard becomes panicked at this and generates a huge amount of darkness that covers half of the island. Dark end. Boom! Poseidon, Gaia, and Blackbeard's giant ball of darkness clash. As this was happening back in Skypiea, Luffy and the rest had just arrived at the island. Immediately as they enter they look around at the cloud-like sea. But then an old man in armor with a flying horse comes at where they are and greets them. Welcome, says the man suddenly, startling everyone. I welcome you, Blue Sea Dwellers, to Skypiea. On the Island of Dreams, you can exchange your berry for the local currency as you pass the checkpoint. My name is Gonfall. He then throws a whistle at them and says, use this if you have any questions, please enjoy the local parks, foods, and playgrounds. You can also visit the ancient Shandian ruins if you are interested, but that will cost extra. Also any crime, no matter how small, will result in you being thrown off the Sky Island. As Gonfall is explaining that, everyone listens curiously and a little surprised. After all, the man just came out of nowhere and it seemed like he was doing an advertisement for an amusement park. But as the old man's eyes land on Naruto, a trace of recognition passes through them. Oh! Is that you, Naruto? Asks the old man with a happy smile on his face. Naruto is confused at this. For a split second he remembers something. Old man Gonfall? Ha ha ha, it's really you. How have you been, old man? The old man immediately takes off his helmet and jumps off his flying bird and lands on the ship. It's been good, never expected to see you coming through this route. I always thought that Nagato would float you up here. Yeah, he usually does. But now I have joined another pirate crew. Never knew that Skypiea was an island one could get through the knock upstream. Explains Naruto, as if he is talking to an old friend. The old man laughs at Naruto's story. Bah! I remember back in the day when you would just wander around and cause trouble for Makoto. Says Gonfall with a nostalgic look in his eyes. By the way, Escanor is here, you should go and say hello. Oi! Old man, who are you? Asks Zoro as he is still on guard a little. He can sense that the old man isn't that weak. Gonfall looks at Zoro and smiles, or at least what the others assume is a smile. As the old man's mouth can't be seen due to his white beard. Oh, I am Gonfall, the manager of Skypiea Amusement Park and HR manager of the Skypiea Island. He sees that the other Straw Hats bar Naruto is surprised. His smile widens at this and the old man whistles. As he does so, giant tentacles appear from the clouds and get a hold of Going Merry. Go towards mainland Froppy. Orders gone fall, the smile on his face is contagious as Robin smiles at the name of the giant creature. It's cute, concludes Robin. Gonfall looks at the Straw Hats and says, Oi! You must all think of what you want to do on the island. I know that pirates don't like to stay up here too much. But you can complete everything within 10 days if you give up a couple of days of sleep. Is there some tinker shop with weapons only special to this island? Wonders Usopp. Gonfall nods at this. Yep, go to Sector 87 and you will find Flam's shop. It has all types of dials. You can ask him what those are. Next. Are there any medical books that explain how the animals in this place came to evolve? Asks Chopper, with an excited smile on his face. Gonfall thinks for a bit but nods once again. Yes, go to Grove 63, there you will find the medical community. Though be careful, some old men might want to dissect you, a talking raccoon dog is quite rare. I am a reindeer! Exclaims Chopper. Chapter 106, Unnamed. While that all is happening, in the New World, Jaw and his children look at some small devices that they have in their pockets. This is an emergency signal from one of their siblings. Kisame frowns at this and they all get on a small flying island. This is the place where Nagato usually stays and trains his powers. They are gonna go to Jaya Island. Minato is fighting someone strong, let's go and kill the attackers. Says Kisame as he takes out a piece of gum and chews into it. Puru. But suddenly, the transponder snail rings out. Kisame looks around. Whose snail is that? His siblings all look at him. Oh! Right, it's mine. He says embarrassed as he pulls out his transponder snail and opens it. Hello, this is Kisame. You don't need to come. Comes a voice from the other side. Immediately everyone recognized the voice, it belonged to Minato. The siblings all have smiles on their faces as they think of this. To them, this is good news. Minato also seemed to have a relatively calm voice as he talked. Kakashi narrows his eyes at this, he doesn't feel even a sliver of relief at this, so he gets close to the transponder snail and says, Minato, tell me the password digits to your safe and Akino's birthday. As he asks, everyone stops and wonders why Kakashi is asking that. As he sees his siblings look at him like that, he just uses his fruit to manipulate the electricity and make writing in the air saying verification if this is Minato. February the 16th is Akino's birthday, her blood type is S and we both know that I am her favorite brother. Says Minato from the other side. Also, you know I don't have a safe anymore as the last one I had you cut a hole in the back of it and were stealing money from me to invest in your failed startup company. Kakashi's eye twitches a little as his company was mentioned. You didn't need to say that it failed. You also didn't need to steal my money. Answers Minato. From what I remember I returned your money. Stabbing a man and then stitching back his wound doesn't make it go back to being good. Kakashi didn't know what to say in the end, so he just said, Okay, so you are fine, we know that at least. Yeah, though they were able to escape sadly. Still, they are all heavily injured. Says Minato, just by the tone of his words people can see that he is narrowing his eyes at Kakashi. Also, it seems like Blackbeard wants some type of deal with the world government. Does Dad know about that? Yep, I do. Comes Jaw's voice as he appears in the middle of his children's group and none of them even noticed him. Don't worry, I had countermeasures so you wouldn't be hurt. But anyway, we should prepare for war soon. Okay. Says Minato. By the way Dad, I just met Naruto and his crew. I know. Says Jaw again, his children just look at him as his face morphed into a smug look. Also they wanted to go to Skypiea and Cricket helped them. Wait, how do you know that? Questions Minato, completely confused, after all from his view information comes from somewhere. It doesn't have an illogical outcome, there must be spies, rumors, etc. Minato is very experienced with spying and a spy network. The spies are still human so they can get bored, laugh, and actually betray you. Well, I know that the same way I know that you were drinking tea today before Blackbeard appeared. And that you wear yellow underwear. Says Jaw casually, a teasing smile very evident now on his face. Also, I know that you were looking at the two waitresses yesterday during lunch. You were wondering if you could have them in a threesome. Wait, what? Exclaims Minato, surprised. He never told that to anyone or even expressed it too much outwardly. How can you know something like that? Jaw, still with a smile on his face, says. Well, I just learned it right now, by hearing your response right now. Everyone is quiet at that. They look at their father. He outplayed Minato once again. The information broker got tricked out of information. The one to break the silence is Kisame, who says, So, Minato, you have really grown. Huh? Minato is confused by where Kisame is going with this. I remember when you were just a little kid and small, I would throw you up so high, higher than the others too, because I knew you could take it. Reminisces Kisame as he looks at the transponder snail with a smile on his face. Yeah. Says Minato. I used to be so scared I would almost pee myself. Hee. Laughs Kisame softly, then his smile becomes a little awkward as he looks at the snail. Even Jaw seems curious about what Kisame is on about. Yeah, and look at you now, all grown up. Managing your own island, you don't have to pay any rent, so plenty of disposable income. Ugh. Oh God. Whines Minato, knowing where this is gonna go. Come on, Minato. Pleads Kisame. Just a couple 100,000 bari, I know that at the end something will come through now. Cashing. Minato just closes on this. Jaw takes out some crackers as he looks at his mini-him, Kisame. He has a nonchalant look on his face as he looks at Kisame being in a bad mood now. Kakashi only looks at Kisame and says, You really need to get rid of that gambling habit of yours. I know, says Kisame, his mood being very depressed. Also, don't you play against Ariel mostly? Questions Nagato. She is a 9-year-old kid and you still lose to her. Kisame falls on his knees as a dark cloud appears above him. Damn it, why am I so trash? Jaw just keeps looking at this nonchalantly as he looks at Kisame. He has an allowance of 1 million set, and even though he and Kakashi are amongst the strongest in the family, they always waste their money. Kisame usually loses it against his younger sister, and Kakashi loses it by starting some new company that is gonna make billions, but it goes bankrupt within the week. Jaw allows them to do whatever the hell they want with their allowances. But he knows that he will never let either of them have any involvement in the monetary management section of the family. Naruto and the rest of the Straw Hats at this time visit the amusement parks and also try out the different dishes. So what is the recipe for this delicious dish? Melori questions Sanji with hearts on his eyes as he looks at the woman in front of him. Wow! So you have the medicine for almost all of the ancient sicknesses that can be found on the Grand Line. Exclaims Chopper in shock as he looks at the old pharmacist in front of him. This was the reaction of many Straw Hats as they spent time amongst Skypiea. Even Robin was taken by the ancient building and the poneglyph in here. Chapter 107, Pirate King? After the first day, the Straw Hats were camping in the forest as they celebrated all through the night. They are going through the ancient city of gold and have been told to not touch anything. As they woke up, Usopp and Luffy were playing around with some dial. Smell dial, fart attack. Says Usopp as he throws a dial at Luffy like it's a grenade. Sanji on the other hand is cooking some wolf stew. He looks at Robin with hearts in his eyes. Melori. The cigarette in his mouth creates smoke in the form of hearts. Nami is covering herself while in the forest. She remembers that the last time she wasn't careful against bugs and such on Little Garden, she almost died. Chopper gathers some of the old fauna around this pace. He wants to study it later. Naruto on the other hand is absent-mindedly looking at Dead Cat. That is when something strange happens and they hear a whistling sound like the air is being cut. Boom! Suddenly someone crashes right in front of them, creating a crater in the form of a muscular man's body. The Straw Hats are all on guard as they see that. Out of the crater a man comes out. He is 3 times the size of a normal human. He has orange hair and is rubbing his head. Fu *k, how does someone like Kaido do this jumping from Sky Islands? Says the man. He is Escanor, and except Naruto and Dead Cat, everyone else feels intimidated by the dangerous feeling Escanor emanated. Escanor looks at Naruto and says, "Well, hello there, little brother. I guess your crew is kinda weak, aren't they?" This annoyed Luffy as he charged at Escanor. Gomu Gomu no pistol. Pow! The fist hits Escanor and he just looks at Luffy with a weird look on his face. His body hasn't moved at all from the hit. Not trying to be demeaning or anything, but I literally didn't even feel anything from that hit. Gum Gum Gatling! Yells Luffy as he is angry at Escanor. But the latter just blinks as he feels the countless hits land on his body. But he still doesn't feel any discomfort from them. He can feel that he is being hit, but that's it. Gum Gum Bazooka! Luffy uses his strongest attack, but Escanor's body is still standing. No injury onto him whatsoever. Is that it? Asks Escanor. Let me show you how a real attack is like. Saru. Fwish! He disappears from everyone's line of sight. The only indicator that the Straw Hats can sense is the wind. Escanor appears behind Luffy and punches him in the head. Normal punch. Pow! Bomb! Luffy crashes on the ground and blood comes out of his head. He is knocked out instantly. Escanor's Haki easily overtook Luffy's defensive robber properties. So that is it? Questions Escanor as he looks at Luffy on the ground, his head bleeding and his eyes rolled on the back of his head. Quite pathetic. You will be slaughtered in the New World. Mutton shot. Pow! Sanji kicks Escanor on the back of his head. The man looks at the cook and goes to slap him on the face. But suddenly arms appear all over Sanji and help him evade the attack by making a rope of hands to get him out of the way. Brain point, Chopper analyzes Escanor and has a nervous look on his face. He has no weakness. I have never seen someone like this. Escanor smiles at this and puts his hands up in surrender. Don't worry. I am not here to fight you. Just wanted to show you the difference in power so you don't die out of arrogance as you step further onto the Grand Line. He then picks up Luffy from the ground and pokes him a couple of times. Immediately Luffy opens his eyes as it seems like the muscles under his body move like worms. Muscle healing his head is mended by his own muscle fibers and his wound closes. Luffy has an annoyed look on his face as he looks at Escanor and says, "Fight me again." Escanor only blinks at this. "You might die if I hit you in the head another time like that, stupid." Naruto holds Luffy back as he seems even more annoyed at this. Escanor only chuckles at this. "Anyway, just wanted to test how strong you guys were. Though you are a little weak, you guys have a bunch of potential to be strong. So see ya." Boom! A crater is made on the ground as Escanor jumps up. As Escanor is up in the sky and using Jeppo to fly, he can't help but contemplate on the Straw Hats. Weak, so unbelievably weak. Naruto could beat the captain by himself too. Honestly, only the swordsman is anything worthy, and that is mostly because of his instincts. He didn't attack me even once. He knew that he would have been defeated in one hit, and knew that I wasn't going for the kill. On the other hand, in the New World, Jaw is currently on Fishman Island, with his daughter Ino by his side. They walk towards the royal family palace. Jaw POV. I look at Ino and smile slightly. She is my favorite daughter, that's for sure. So, can you transfer the memories on how to read the poneglyphs to me? As I ask her that, she nods at it. Yep, but you should be careful though, that much memory transfer can cause some headaches on other people. I smile at that and pat my daughter's head. She only reaches up to my waist in height. Don't worry about it. Ino smiles at that. Anyway, Dad, did you like Pluton? Yeah, I loved it. That weapon is something else, a ship that can actually destroy the world. Of course not in a literal sense, just like Whitebeard can destroy the world, by going to every island and sinking them. That way of destroying the world, not literally just one punch to destroy the world. Yes, yes, I did like it, Ino. Now it seems like we only need Uranus to complete the whole set. I explain to her, as I pick her up and sit her on my shoulder. Ino nods at that. Now we just need the last road Ponglyph and we have everything in place. I smile at her. Yep, I already have the imprint from the Ponglyph in Zo, I have the dead Big Mom's Ponglyph and I also have an imprint of Kaido's Ponglyph, now I just need the last one. It used to be on Fishman Island, but it's no longer here. Now I could go and search for it, but that would be useless really. So we just get Neptune's memory of the last Ponglyph, I read it and then it will be done, right? You will become Pirate King? Questions Ino. She obviously knows of my plan on how to get access to Laugh Tale. Back then, I didn't go with Roger because it would put a target on my back, but now. Yes, Ino, we will then get all the treasures in the world, I tell her with a teasing tone to my voice. Ah. Ino laughs and then a dangerous look appears on her face. I can't wait for it. Chapter 108, Road. I keep Ino sitting on my shoulder. We walk towards the palace, the guards on the palace easily let me go. Honestly, I am a little excited to see what Laugh Tale has in it. It must be something quite amazing. I don't care about the true history of the world, nor the void century. Roger was a shackled person, by his sickness. He did start the great age of pirates, putting the spotlight on the things that the world government wants to hide. I will probably erase this part of history too once I defeat the world government, no need to get any radical group ideas. Actually, I will start by putting the people back into the Dark Ages once more, taking away their technological advances and all that. I will also take away the Ponglyphs and find a way to destroy them. What is mine is only mine, what others have is also mine. After that whole phase of the Dark Ages will be over and a couple of generations past. We will then start space travel. Laugh Tale also needs to get destroyed after I take away its treasures and resources. I look down on the ground as I think that. Finally, I am powerful enough to have the ability to chase after such things. I have got all the power that I could get. I might not be the strongest person on 1v1, but that doesn't matter at all. The worst enemy of a good plan is the dream of a perfect one. No fruit in the world can make me God, but it doesn't matter to me. I am okay with that. I know that even Roger at his prime wasn't someone perfect or unbeatable. Well, no one is perfect or unbeatable. But that too doesn't matter. I have the children that I trust, they are my power. Even the Rocks pirates are nothing in comparison to my children today. Well, the Rocks had only Whitebeard, Rocks, and Shiki who were in their prime also. Big Mom was around 24 years old and Kaido even younger. So those two have obviously gotten stronger since then, but that still means nothing. It doesn't take long for me to get a personal and private meeting with Neptune. I look at him as he is sitting opposite of me. Ino just stands next to me without saying anything and the usual smile on her face is now a normal look. Jaw, what is it that you wanted to talk about? Asks Neptune. I don't answer him. Fwish! I move quicker than he can comprehend as I get behind him and lightly punch him on the back of his head, knocking him out. Bomb! He falls on the ground and I can hear some people who seem to be coming towards this place. Boom! My Conqueror's hockey bursts out, the whole room around me cracks and the people close to the room are all knocked out. No need to be polite about it here, I control this place. Now I just need to get Shirahoshi a little bit more under my control. That is the only reason I even keep losers like Neptune in power. The man can't manage sh*t and only chases after his wife's dream. I for myself do not care about the unity of humans and fishmen. To me, they are the same, sh*t stains that I wouldn't care about any of them. I see Ino walk forward and start looking through Neptune's memories and sniping a little of them. She shows one of them to me. I smile a little as I see a young me. He is looking at Roger. Damn, I was really small back then. You look so cute as a kid, Dad. Says Ino as she smiles at this. Though I can see it, the resemblance to Kisame was uncanny even back then. I smirk at that as I take the memory and look at it. Damn, I was so small back then. Ha ha ha. Ino laughs at that too. In the end, she then shows me the road poneglyph. I narrow my eyes at that. Can you read it? Yep, says Ino, and she then verifies. I can now pinpoint where Raftel will be. I smile at that. Welp. I ain't telling nobody I found the treasure. Fu asterisk K joy boy, I don't care about Roger's will. I am about to rule the mother Fu asterisk king world. I can't help it as a smile appears on my face. I love this. I am obviously not about to tell anyone that I found the One Piece. Telling that to everyone would ruin my advantage. My power becomes unstable, and while the world government is aggressive towards me, they don't do anything right now. Because if they attack me, then that would be bad for them in case another Yonko attack. Plus, even if they win, it will spell destruction for them too. In a way, mutual destruction is what is keeping both of us in line. If one of us attacks, the other will be left in shambles. Also, even if the world government decided to attack me, I would never reciprocate in a fair way. I would never fight them in land, that is as illogical as they come to me. Later on, Ino gives me the ability to read poneglyphs, and I must say, the language is quite complicated, and I am quite shocked as I finally discovered where Laugh-Tale is. General POV. A couple of weeks pass after that, and the Straw Hats leave Sky Island. After that, they arrive at Long Ring Long Land Island. A place where the creatures are tall. They had a lot of fun and played with the tall creatures. A couple of days later, and finally they arrive at the next island after the log pose set. Luffy looks towards the island with a smile on his face. Whoa! Water 7. This place looks amazing. He says that as he looks at the waterfall-like island. Even the others couldn't help themselves but express their amazement with the island. It doesn't take long for them to arrive at the island and dock. In there they see a guy with a white dove on his shoulder. He has a hammer in his hand and is being attacked by some pirates. Fwish! He moves quickly between the pirates and beats them with the hammer over their heads, knocking them out. Whoa! That guy is tough, exclaims Luffy, his smile wide on his face. Later on, the Straw Hats split, and everyone goes to do their own thing. Currently, their ship isn't as bad as it would have been otherwise. Also, they have no money for a new ship. As Naruto wanders all over the city, he sees many strange sights and tries many different foods. Dead Cat trails behind him, and while he wanders around, he sees a pervert just wearing black underwear just walking around. The man has blue hair and is wearing sunglasses. Naruto just looks at the man with a contemplating look on his eyes. Chapter 109, Naruto looks at the strange man and can't help but ask, "Whoa, that looks pretty cool." As he says that, Frankie looks at him and smiles. He then does a pose while saying, "Super." When Naruto sees Frankie do that, he too does a pose that he thinks makes him look cool. Dead Cat blinks at this. This is so dumb. While that was happening, Rob Lucci is on top of the roof, looking down on Naruto. That is. I can't believe it. He is his son. How is that possible? What is he doing here? Is he with that weak crew from before? Can't believe the Straw Hats have a 100 million asset captain. It also seems like Naruto too has a bounty of 80 million asset too. Rob Lucci frowns slightly and he then sits down on the roof. Nico Robin and the Straw Hats are now only second place of concern, because this Naruto is now my top one concern. I can get Kaku or Blueno to get in contact with Nico Robin. Iceberg POV. I look at the simple office around me. I frown a little as I look at the letter in front of me. Underscore 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 underscore. Be careful, CP9 are after you. If you want safety, join the JAW Secret Alliance. The world government will never let you go because of Pluton. By Kisame, Emperor Jaw's son. Underscore 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 underscore. I don't know what to think of this. Water 7 and the world government are known to have a certain relationship and status quo between themselves. I can discard world government agents and not meet them when I want not to. But, associating with someone like Jaw can bring the whole world government to keep an eye on me. Not like they aren't already doing so, but if I join Yonko Jaw, the next thing I know I will have an assassination directed at me. I know how they act. Also, Jaw isn't a necessarily dependable ally either. I doubt he would go to open war with the world government over me. He is not irrational. I do not know him personally, but his actions show something scary about his intelligence and foresight. At least he was polite enough to warn me about the threat. I doubt that he would lie to me. He most likely sent this because soon there will be an assassination attempt and then he will be like, "I told you so," then I will have to join. Also, what is scary is that Jaw knows about Pluto. Damn, how did he get that type of information? Only me and Frankie are the ones in on the secret. But that means that even if I die, no one knows that Frankie is holding on to the blueprints. At least I can take solace in that, but damn, either joining Jaw or getting killed. I am not sure which sounds worse, being controlled by one man or dying. I contemplate this decision of mine until evening. The cooks come around and give me some food. I also did some research on past actions of both sides. The world government obviously has some **** situations on their hands. I know how they can be, when they kill Tom. Still, I don't know if joining Jaw is any better. The man requires absolute obedience and control over his subordinates. They must listen to his orders and not step out of line. Also, he is surprisingly good with money. Every place that is under his control has had an economic boom. But at the same time, once I look closer I can see how he keeps such good control over his territories. He doesn't need to keep bases on the territories at all. True, he has some pirates who have decided to join him to keep the peace in these islands. Those pirates are more like shore boys, because what keeps the places more in control is the dependence they have on Jaw. He is the middleman, a word of the law so to say, that keeps these islands connected together. He keeps them working with each other and not fighting, but he also pushes other islands to be the best at what they are good at. He would turn Water 7 into a shipbuilding machine, and nothing more. He would have us depend on him for food, resources, and everything else. He will become our drug but at the same time our medicine. Creak! Suddenly I hear the door opening. I look towards the door and see that it hasn't moved at all. Where did that noise come from? I suddenly look to the side of the room and see a man with a bullhead mask just walk in with a door behind him shaped in that form. So that is it then? The assassins? This must be a devil fruit or something since I know that there is no door in that place. I am sitting down on my desk and wearing glasses as I look at the people in masks. I also see the only member of the group without a mask, and she is wearing a green cloak. I immediately recognize her. She is Nico Robin, a woman who landed here yesterday with a group of pirates. Ladies and gentlemen. I say so calmly, though I am nervous on the inside I don't express it. What can I help you with? We want the blueprints of Pluto, says one of them as they start taking off their masks. What? Lucci? I couldn't help it. I was shocked. I look at the others and see Bluino, the guy who works at the bar, and Kaku? I can't help it as rage swells up inside of me. So, you guys are the spies from the world government then? Yes, says Lucci calmly. I don't argue with any of them. I only sigh in resignation and suddenly scream out loud. Intruders! Fwish! I see Kaku move faster than I can follow and put his hand around my throat, stopping me from saying any more, but the deed is already done as countless people are already coming. Lucci only looks at me with a smile and says, "We're assassins, and the best at our job." He then goes to the door and opens it. Bomb! 2 bodies fall on the ground as he does so. We have already dispatched off everyone inside the mansion. No one can hear you now, explains Lucci. I know that he is saying all this to put pressure on me and as an intimidating tactic. I can also feel Kaku's grip on me tightening. Welp, seems like this is it then. This is where I die. Well, I wanted to live some more, but this is good enough, I guess. At least now the new mayor will have to think about Jaw and the world government not my problem anymore. Munch. Suddenly I hear a munching sound and I look towards the window, the direction where the sound came from. And I see 4 people, a yellow-haired brat with whiskers, a green-haired man with 3 swords, a blonde-haired man with a swirly eyebrow, and a brat with a straw hat who seems to be eating. You need help, blue-haired man? Asks Naruto with a confused look on his face. Chapter 110, as Rob, Lucci, Kaku, and Blueno look at Zoro, Naruto, Luffy, and Sanji. They narrow their eyes. Robin has a shocked look on her face at this. She never thought that something like this would happen. She wanted to save the Straw Hats the trouble of having her around, as she would bring danger to them. Pirates, this is not your place to interfere, says Kaku, his eyes narrowing at the people in front of him. He doesn't mind killing the people in front of him. But at the same time, their deal with Nico Robin to come to Eni's lobby quietly will be null. Naruto narrows his eyes at the people in front of him. Soru. Fwish! He disappears from his place, surprising the CP9 agents as he is using their own technique against them. He decides to attack Blueno, due to the guy having a big body, meaning that he is an easier target. Tekai, Blueno, on the other hand, tightens his muscles to defend himself. He is a Tekai specialist, so his defense is quite stellar. But that is useless in front of Naruto as he swipes his hand around Blueno's neck. And to Kaku's and Lucci's surprise, Blueno's head goes flying. It doesn't matter how high their physical defense is, Naruto can casually do something like this. His fruit doesn't care for natural physical defenses. Before his body can even start falling on the ground, Rob Lucci uses Soru and is upon Naruto. Shurgon Gatling, his hand flashes numerous times and Naruto can't dodge and doesn't have enough time to even use Tekai as Lucci Shurgon starts piercing his body, leaving holes. Naruto starts bleeding, is kicked in the stomach by Lucci, and thrown away. Bomb! He crashes into a wall. Zoro pulls out his swords and goes to cut up Lucci, but the latter uses Tekai to block the slashes as his muscles tighten to such a degree that it makes them stronger than steel. He is shocked. He can cut up Daz's bone steel-like body, but he can't seem to even put a scratch on this man. Lucci frowns and his body slowly morphs into that of a hybrid between a tiger and a human. He is in his hybrid form. Soru, he disappears from everyone's view and appears behind Zoro to attack him. Fwish! But Naruto appears out of nowhere and kicks him in the head. Bomb! But Kaku is not idle at this either as he sees Naruto midair. He shoots a cutting projectile from his leg. Reinkaku. The projectile goes towards Naruto, but Zoro appears before it and intercepts it using his sword. Don't attack a man when he is at his weakest, says Zoro. He wouldn't attack an opponent when his guard is down. He is a pirate, so he would use underhanded methods too, but he also has honor, so this is only to a certain extent. Sorry, swordsman, but I am an assassin. For me to attack a man when his guard is down. Soru, he charges at Zoro, and appears behind him. Is the best time to attack a man? Zoro doesn't seem surprised at Kaku and instead, without even looking, stabs at Kaku's eyes. Kaku immediately jumps back. Now a slightly nervous look adorns on his face. He almost cut my eyes, ponders Kaku. Zoro smiles as he looks at the square-nosed man. Well, assassins are very predictable. I was trying to help you a little, since you seem quite bad at it. This angers Kaku a little, but he still doesn't let the anger cloud his judgment. He uses Soru again and charges at the swordsman. This time he moves in an erratic way and tries to hit Zoro from the left, but once again Zoro swings his sword at where Kaku would be. Kaku has to jump back once more at this. Though he can defend himself using Tekai, he is immobile during the usage of the technique, so that would be worse than getting a hit. He still keeps an eye on Naruto, who is fighting against Lucci. With the help of Sanji and Luffy, they are holding back the man quite easily. Zoro has a smirk on his face as he keeps looking at Kaku. This time I could see you. You're either getting slower or my eyes are getting used to your speed. Kaku charges at Zoro once more. The man then puts the last sword on his mouth and says, "You are quite good, now die." 3 sword style. Charging bull. Fwish! Kaku couldn't react as 2 swords were stabbed in his eye sockets, killing him indefinitely as the swords pierced his brain. He puts his sword back on his sheath and looks at the others fighting against Lucci. Sanji kicks the CP9 agent repeatedly, and Lucci has to take those hits without using Tekai, as he knows that as soon as he becomes immobile, Naruto will come and easily defeat him. Once he sees that Zoro has killed Kaku, he frowns slightly at that. He doesn't necessarily care about Kaku, but that means that the swordsman can join in the fight, then that would K him up even more as the swordsman could slash at his legs to injure them. Well, it seems like this is it then. Contemplates Lucci as he looks at the wall on the side and rams his body through the wall. Bomb! He is on the outside and he immediately starts using Jeppo and escapes. Zoro tries to hit him with some surprise flying slashes, but he misses. Zoro is slightly surprised that he was able to copy CP9 Reinkaku and turn it into a flying sword slash. The Straw Hats had one and Iceberg looked at them in gratitude. Rob Lucci, on the other hand, as he flew away, he had an annoyed look on his face. He pulls out a transponder snail and dials up a number. Catch-a. As the other side opens, a growling voice comes from the other side. "Did you finish the job?" As Lucci hears the voice, his body shivers in fear. He knows the true depth of the man's strength. "Yes, Jaw-sama, everything is in place now," says Rob Lucci, ex-CP9 agent and lieutenant of the Jaw Pirates. While this was happening on Water 7, in the New World, on Wano, Kaido is just sitting down. He isn't drinking or anything like that. He has a calm look on his face. He has some slight burn wounds to his side now too. Kaido POV. I look at the ceiling above me. Gah! This sucks. I want to die a legendary death. A man reaches his perfection when he does. Odin, that man, he died so perfectly. I truly wouldn't mind dying like that. Reaching my perfect stage. I want to die by the only man who can truly kill me on these seas. Jaw, but last time I did this, the Marines interfered. Damn those guys. I yell out loud in annoyance. They will King regret doing that. Me and Jaw were having a dance of death, one wrong move and I could have actually died against him. I had to be full on alert and keep my mind calm to use observation hockey. Damn it! Chapter 111. Due to the events in Water 7 and saving his life, Iceberg has decided to help the Straw Hats and to help them make the best ship that they could make. He also convinced Frankie to join the Straw Hats too. This was so he could protect the blueprints of the ancient weapon. Staying in Water 7, he will just attract more attention to the place. Frankie tries to resist and not go with them, but after a painful and almost ball-crushing experience, he decides to join. The bounties of the Straw Hats don't move at all, as there was no public thing that they displayed. The world government didn't want to address at all what happened to Iceberg's mysterious assassination attempt. They cut their losses with CP9 altogether. As the Straw Hats leave in their new ship, who was personally built by Frankie and Iceberg, Naruto has a smile on his face as he, Usopp, Luffy, and Chopper are celebrating. Sanji narrows his eyes as he can see the lighthouse of a marine ship with a dog head. Oi! Guys, we should set sail. It seems like the Marines are here. We need to get out of here. Luffy and Naruto look at the ship and smile. Let's show them our cool ship, exclaims Luffy with a face full of enjoyment. Hell yeah! Yells out Naruto as he smiles at this. He can't wait to see some cool things. He has already healed from Rob Lucci's attacks yesterday. His healing surprised many, but to him that was normal. Kisame healed even faster. He would usually be a good half an hour after the injury, and 6 hours later it would heal. Still, he smiles at this. But suddenly his eyes widen as he sees a projectile. Cannonball! Yells out Naruto, and Luffy doesn't take a split second to react as he clenches his fist and punches the cannonball that is about to hit the ship. Boom! But Luffy can't punch away the explosion and is hit point blank, causing him to be knocked out due to the surprising force that he was hit with. Naruto's eyes widen at this and he uses Geppo to get a hold of Luffy. He puts him on the ground and winces a little as he sees the injuries on Luffy. Oi! Chopper, come and help Luffy. He is injured. Naruto is a little panicked as he says that. Someone like Luffy was knocked out in one hit. He knows that to achieve something like this must have the power of at least Escaner. Fu *k, if we meet someone of at least Escaner's strength, we will all be dead. Ha ha ha. Laughs Frankie out of nowhere. He smiles at them and gives a thumb up. Let me show you what Sunny can do. 3, 2, 1. Go! Kuda burst. Boom! Suddenly a pressurized came behind the Sunny and it flew off. On the marine ship, Garp looks at them as he eats a cracker. Now not even I can stop them. They are flying. Oh well, I will just tell to Sengoku that they got away. A couple of days after that, Shanks is in the New World. He is drinking with shipmates and he has a guest on board. He looks at Mihawk and says, Gah! Hawkeye, you got scared by Jaw. Shanks POV. Though I say that in a joking manner, I know that only a fool wouldn't be scared of Jaw. Even I am scared of him, especially with what he has been doing recently. I really hope I don't have to fight him. Of course I am not necessarily scared of Jaw. I am more scared of his disposition. Says as he has a wine glass in his hand. His face is calm and all that, but it is true, he is not scared of Jaw, he just wouldn't like to die from his hand. Though his title as the world's strongest swordsman is quite mighty, no one is really after it, even accomplished swordsmen. Their swordsmanship and power are more like a means to an end than the end goal. Marines seem to be here. I can take care of them as payment for letting me on your ship. Says Mihawk, pulling me out of my thoughts. I look at him but shake my head. Nah, there is no need. You are our guest here, ha 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 ha. Humph. I see that you are as soft as always, Shanks. As he says that I smile a little. Mihawk wouldn't necessarily mind killing the Marines. But that is needless, they are just some poor schmucks doing their jobs and following orders. They must have families waiting for them. I don't want to leave a kid parentless in this world. Actions have consequences, killing needlessly and creating chaos will have unnecessary violence. I get up and look at the Marine Armada. They don't have an admiral amongst them. Well, they might think that I would kill him. Well, if it was Akainu I might give it a thought, but Kazan and Borsalino aren't bad guys. Vroom! I release a wave of Conqueror's Haki and knock out almost all of the people on the ship. I don't knock out the people who seem like they have devil fruits and navigators. Let's get close to them. I say to my crew and our ships get close by. I see some people who I didn't knock out just standing there, holding their weapons and shaking in fear. Sigh, why does the world government even feel the need to do stuff like this? I am going to meet Whitebeard, but sending men to die just because they want to save some face and say that they at least tried. They probably only attacked me because they knew that I wouldn't kill them. Those old grandpas are really annoying sometimes. I can only sigh at this, but in the end, a smile appears on my face. Hey there. I want you all to get your friends and have them be all accounted for, as I will destroy your ships. This way you aren't seen like you didn't fight at all. As I tell them that, they fall on their knees and start crying. Thank you so much for sparing us, says one of the men. I can hear the desperation in his voice. I can tell that his feelings aren't selfish, so he most likely has a family and lives because of them. After that whole ordeal, I leave behind a wreckage of ships that coincidentally has all of its Marines alive. I see Mihawk just looking at me with a calm look on his eyes. His emotions are calm too, so I have no idea what he is even thinking. General POV. As Shanks was going to meet Whitebeard and talk about Ace, Jaw has another plan in mind. He is lying back on his throne as he calls Kaido. HM? Jaw? Wanna fight? Asks Kaido grumpily as he seemed like he just woke up. At least that is one of Jaw's assumption, the other could be that he is grumpy drunk. No. I have something else in mind. Kaido. Jaw has a smile on his face. Chapter 112. 3 days pass after the Straw Hats left Water 7 and Usopp, Naruto and Luffy are currently fishing. Naruto catches something and pulls it up. It's a shark and smiles. Hell yeah! I am gonna have Sanji cook this for me and me only. Gomu Gomu no, accidental punch. Says Luffy as he punches the shark on Naruto's hands away and back into the water. Ah! Yells Naruto panicked, then he looks at Luffy and kicks him in the face. You bastard. Luffy is thrown back at this and crashes into the hull of the ship and almost falls into the sea. Aw! Naruto, you trying to kill me? Yes, just like you killed my hopes. Says Naruto as he goes to punch Luffy. You never share. Yells Luffy out loud as he dodges Naruto's punch and tries to hit the blonde back with his own gum pistol, but Naruto dodges too and the punch hits Usopp, who is just fishing peacefully. Usopp falls into the sea, but neither of them pays any attention to this. Don't look at me like that. You don't share either. Says Naruto as he tries to separate Luffy's head from the body. But the latter stretches his neck and head and headbutts Naruto, but he is the one who is hurt as he falls on the ground. Nami just looks at Naruto and Luffy fighting. She knows that in minutes they will be back to being best friends. Naruto and Luffy have a weird relationship. 1 second they are fighting and beating each other, then they become best of friends. They fight for the silliest of things, from who caught the biggest fish, who eats their food faster, who can build a better snowman, who can skip a rock further away. Truly silly fights. Whoa! We are gonna enter the Florian Triangle! Exclaims Naruto in excitement. Luffy is also excited at this. They have both heard from Nami that this is a mysterious place. Hey Naruto, so you think that we can maybe get a ghost to join the crew? Asks Luffy as he looks at Naruto. Hell yeah! We will definitely get a pet ghost. Just imagine how cool that would be. As he says that, he and Luffy start dancing around. Usopp gets on the ship and he is now annoyed at Luffy and Naruto. At this time in Wano, another big event is happening as Kaido has called a meeting with his top officers and looks at them with a happy smile on his face. Everyone in Wano is having a feast for today because he is happy. Worororo. Laughs Kaido, taking another large sip of sake. The Beast Pirates have officially entered an alliance with the Jaw Pirates. Worororo. As he says, everyone is shocked by this. Though some amongst the top fighters like Jack, King, and Queen knew about Jaw and Kaido's relatively friendly relationship, none of them expected this would be something that they will admit publicly. They weren't scared of the world government at all. They are the 100 Beast Pirates. Being scared of something isn't how they raise through the ranks. None of them say anything, though some of them do smile. They know that the world government will now try to kill them all. There are no what-ifs now. Worororo. Kaido laughs once more loudly. He then shows his people the secret paper that Jaw sent him. The world government seems to be too preoccupied with Whitebeard now. Underscore 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 underscore. Porgas D. Ace captured. Scheduled execution in Marineford. New warlord of the sea. Underscore 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 underscore. They are all shocked even more now. They all know how Whitebeard will react to this. The old man will attack Marineford. Kaido has a huge smile on his face. He knows that there he can have his perfect death. Jaw will be there, so will be many other powerful people. This will be the greatest war that the world has ever seen. Gah, Kaido, did you call for me? Comes a voice from the side as a dobe is open and a man being accompanied by many servants and samurai comes in. Kaido looks at him and says, Huh? Oh yeah, I did call you, Orochi, come closer. I have some things to tell you. As Orochi gets closer, he has a smile on his face and Kaido has a causal one. King, kill the little snake. As Kaido casually says that, King doesn't even question the order, and before any of the samurai can react, Orochi's head flies in the air. The samurai pull out their swords and yell at Kaido, asking him something. But that is when he then seems to remember something. Oh yeah, kill the samurai and servants too, tell the shogun has been poisoned by our enemies and Yamato will be the new shogun. Also, look around the castle for the new reincarnated Yamata no Orochi fruit. Kaido does all of this casually as he can feel the excitement of the war to come. These small events are nothing to him. But at the same time that this was happening, Whitebeard was gathering his crew. He hasn't gotten any definite news yet, but it seemed like Ace is in trouble now. It seems like my time has come. Contemplates Whitebeard, knowing that he is unlikely to get out of Marineford alive. But it doesn't matter to him, he has lived a life just like he wanted, and the last couple of years were quite fun. He spent them with his family and laughing at the recent developments in the world. Oh well, everyone has to eventually die. I would rather die fighting than in a bed. Whitebeard doesn't mind it anymore now. Pura-puparu-paru. Suddenly a ringing transponder snail is brought over by Marco. Oi! Pops, it seems like Jaw is calling you. HM? What is that brat calling for now? He never calls unless there is some benefit to his little empire. Says Whitebeard, he already knows what type of person Jaw is. Cat Jaw. Whitebeard opens the transponder snail and says, Jaw, you brat, what did you call for? I am busy with something. Oh, I know. Says Jaw from the other side. The transponder snail smiles, mirroring what Jaw is doing. Of course you do. Says Whitebeard with a nonchalant look on his face. You have your little spies everywhere, don't you? I thought the message was clear when I sent you back their corpses. Ja. Laughs Jaw from the other side. This one seems to be more competent. Anyway, that doesn't matter, old man. I am here to offer you to return your body back to its prime. I have a certain person who can do that. So what do you say, old man? While Jaw was communicating with Whitebeard, the world government had a whole new problem in their hands. First was, of course, Whitebeard. Next was Jaw and Kaido having an official alliance. Amongst the Yonko currently, those two fight almost constantly. Never in a million years did they think that those two would ally with each other. Sengoku has a grave look on his face, and so do the five elders. This is the worst time for something like this to happen. Chapter 113. The Straw Hats enter the Florian Triangle, and as they do so, they see many ghost ships just floating around, and Luffy and Naruto are all excited at the prospect of ghosts. As they pass another ship, they see a skeleton drinking out of an empty teacup. The tall skeleton with an afro looks at them. Everyone else in the ship pales in fright at this, except Naruto and Luffy, who have excited looks on their faces. Naruto is amazed at this, as he has never seen a skeleton walk. Whoa! That is cool, Luffy. Are you gonna do it? Luffy nods at this. The other crew members are confused at this too. Do what? Asks Dead Cat. Luffy looks at the cat and says, ask him to join our crew, of course. Shishishishishishishi. Nami is terrified at this and says, wait, Luff dash. Oi! Skeleton, wanna join my crew? Asks Luffy with a smile on his face. Yeah, sure. Says the skeleton casually. Nami falls on the ground in depression. He never talks to us about anything like this. Bah! Welcome to the crew, skeleton. Says Naruto as he uses Jeppo and lands on the ghost ship and picks up Brook and a Princess Carrie. Oh my! Says Brook. You are such a gentleman. Naruto brings him on the sunny and immediately drops him on the ground. Bomb! Ack! Grunts Brook as he falls on the ground. Luffy immediately goes close to the skeleton and looks at him with a curious look on his face, and the first question that he asks is, can you poop? What the hell? yells Sanji. There are way more important questions to ask here. Bloop gets up and drinks out of his empty teacup and says, "Yes, I can." Don't answer him so casually. The Straw Hats set anchor and invite Brook for dinner. At this time the revolutionaries conquer a random kingdom under the control of the world government. Dragon is reading some report papers with the names of the kings who support Jaw. He isn't willing to attack those islands. He too knows that Jaw won't be too nice about it. It doesn't matter. I must be logical about this, Dragon thought. Once the world government falls, I can take care of him. I must keep my priorities straight. Dragon knows that Jaw is dangerous, but the world government is even more so, and he wouldn't mind it if the two of them weaken each other. He is a logical man and knows many secrets of the world government. From what he knows, Jaw's chances of winning against the world government are slim to none. But he would definitely weaken the world government, especially with the Kaido alliance. Should I attack after they are all done fighting? Wonders Dragon, but in the end, he shakes his head. He doesn't have the top combatants. The strongest people in the army currently are him, Ivankov, and Sabo. Jaw and the Marine have way more than them, and even if they can win in a 1v1, which in itself is unlikely, Jaw and the world government have a lot of top-level fighters and can even afford 3v1 in top-level fighters. Hopefully, they weaken each other. Jaw POV. After that conversation with Whitebeard is over, I still have a smile on my face. I can just imagine it, one of my children with Whitebeard's fruit. That would be amazing. That fruit is undoubtedly the strongest Paramecia devil fruit. I lean back on my throne and feel the soft stone-like structure on my back. As I have made sure, everyone now knows of my true strength, but after I got that thing from Laugh Tale, ha 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 ha. I can't help but laugh every time I think of that amazing treasure. Joy Boy truly left something amazing in there. All blue and everything can now be accomplished. Oh Roger, you truly were too early arriving there. One name, your name will be forgotten by the annals of history, but ULD will continue to live, even if your bloodline is erased from that world. I will continue to remember you GOLD, Roger. Also, the world government truly has some big secrets. Those people are truly worse than they even seem. If the world knew the truth, they would band together against them. Those celestial dragons shouldn't be ruling the world, they should be paying for the crimes of their ancestors. Well, I am being a little hypocritical here, as there is no need for me to be so shocked. I will most likely do the same thing, so it doesn't matter. After all, it did work for them. I just need to be careful and exterminate the will of D and not let it fester like a parasite in an open wound. I still wonder why the world government didn't exterminate the Alabasta Kingdom, after all. Knock knock knock. I am interrupted from my thoughts as I hear a knock on the door. The door opens and I see Kisame's head pop in. He is like a kid as he looks around curiously. What's going on, Kisame? I ask him. He looks at me and smiles a little. Dad, it's time spar, says Kisame. I look at the clock on the wall and nod. I guess time passes quickly when I am planning things. I usually like to be alone during those as it helps me contemplate and have a clearer mind. Okay, I will come up there a couple of minutes, I tell him as I get up and stretch a little. I have been sparring against my children. I am just teaching them how to fight against people way stronger than them. They will have to inevitably fight against the admirals, so they will have to learn these things later on, and we are in a relatively desolate part of the island. Many of my kids are around and they look at me and Kisame with a look of curiosity. I have with my sword, Raijin, on the ground, while Kisame has his. I smile at that slightly. I don't want to kill him. Plus I know that I can defeat him without needing a sword. Kakashi uses electromagnetism to magnify it so everyone can hear it due to electromagnetic waves. Ready. Go! As soon as he says that, I can see Kisame use Saru and charge at me. He moves extremely fast for someone carrying a heavy sword like that. I cover my hand in hockey and punch his hockey-covered sword too. Bang! A shockwave is created from our fists and I am slightly pushed back due to Kisame's charging momentum. I smile at that slightly. I use Soru and Jeppo in combination, and with extreme 3D maneuverability I appear behind him and try to punch him in the head, but he brings his sword to protect his back. Clang! Once more he has stopped my attack. I guess his future sight is quite good, but mine is better. I see that when I use advanced level of armament Hackley I can break Kisame's sword, and that will take him by surprise, and then I hit him in the head, knocking him out. As quick as I get that future vision I am immediately reenacting it. I know that future vision is not omnipotent and it can be changed after all. But I still break his sword and punch Kisame in the head with a high-level armament hockey, and even use a little Fishman karate, knocking him out immediately. Chapter 114. While that was happening, the Straw Hats hear Brook's story and Luffy decides to help him get his shadow back. This caused Brook to become extremely happy, and also as they arrived. Not all of the members landed on the ground, as some stayed back. Only Nami, Usopp, Chopper, Naruto, and Dead Cat did so. Naruto and Dead Cat were okay with staying back, while Nami and Chopper were affected by Usopp's can't get on this island disease. Naruto and Dead Cat look at them with narrowed eyes. It is a stupid name, but the disease truly does exist, and they do seem to display almost all of the symptoms of it. While that was happening, Mihawk tests the waters and sees that Jaw is no longer paying attention to him, meaning that he can return back to traversing the Grand Line by himself. As he is traversing in an unknown part of the Grand Line, he couldn't help but think, "Damn, that was troublesome. I should be more careful from now on." Puru. Suddenly his dendemishi rings and he goes to pick it up. As he does so he can't help but be a little apprehensive. Catch-ah. In the end, he opens the transponder snail and a voice comes from the other side. "Yo! Mihawk." As soon as he hears the voice, he frowns. He knows who this voice belongs to. He doesn't answer or say anything. So, Jaw takes the reins of this and says, "Don't worry about that grudge from before. It's all water under the bridge. I just want your confirmation that you won't interfere in a battle in the future. Give me your word." Mihawk doesn't know what Jaw is talking about, as he is not as well informed as Jaw as to know about Ace being captured before the news even announces it. "Yes. I give you my word." The transponder snail smiles at his. "Good, that is very good." Kacha. At the same time in Wano, Queen was preparing some plagues and different chemical weapons when his transponder snail rings. He opens it and says, "Hello, Queen here." As he says that, a certain voice comes from the other side. "Well, hello there, Queen." Queen is confused at this. "Jaw? What do you want?" "I can help you with a problem of yours," offers Jaw. As he says that, Queen frowns. "I have no problems," says Queen as he goes back to doing his experiments. He is also wondering who the hell gave Jaw his personal number. Then Smoke Judge. As soon as that name is uttered by Jaw, Queen goes silent. The transponder snail's smile widens at that. Many hours later, and Jaw calls many people and putting certain things in place. The more calls he makes, the more things fall into place. This is Jaw's advantage. He might not be the strongest in a fair fight, but that doesn't matter, as he can confidently say that he has the best connections amongst the Yonko. Jaw finally, after finishing all the calls, smiles. He beat Kakashi and Kisame in fights. Though Kakashi was quite tricky even for him, so the fight lasted longer. But not that long. He gets up from his chair and leaves the Dodemishi back there. With a smile on his face, he gets up and walks away. I wonder what Shanks will do. As he wonders that, the doors behind him are closed. The next day, the news spreads of Straw Hat Luffy defeated Gecko Moria, one of the 7 warlords of the sea. This was quite the big news, and Luffy's bounty rose accordingly, since the world government couldn't hide the event. Luffy's bounty rose to 250 million B, and some of his other crew got bounties too, as Bartholomew Kuma was witness to this event and he wasn't able to eliminate the Straw Hats. This all influenced the belief that the Shichibukai shouldn't be trusted. They know that someone like Kuma would be able to capture them. But he decided to do this instead and let them go. Whiskers Naruto also got an increase in his bounty, and it's now 100 million B. Pirate hunter Zoro also got a bounty of 50 million B. Blackleg Sanji got a bounty of 40 million B. This was all of the bounty increases and new bounties they got, since they all were together when they beat Gecko Moria. They were all given /increased bounties. A few days after departing from the Florian Triangle and the ghost ship Thriller bark, the Straw Hats continued to follow the log pose in the direction it had been pointing since it last set on Water 7. After making their way through bizarre weather and fighting massive sea kings, they finally arrived directly above the location indicated by the pose, Fishman Island. However, instead of finding the long sought-after destination, the Straw Hats encounter another obstacle, the Red Line, the continent that encircles the prime meridian of the world. Having originally entered the Grand Line Reverse Mountain on the other side of the Red Line, this means that the crew has traveled halfway around the Grand Line. With the continent blocking access into the New World, and therefore to both Luffy's dream of becoming Pirate King and new crewmate Brook's dream of getting back to Reverse Mountain and reuniting with Laboon. Naruto looks at this and swallows hard. Soon he will have to inevitably meet his father, and so will his crew. He doesn't know how that will play at all. It could either end up good or really bad. Still, in the end they decide to brave through the obstacles and land sunny in Grove number 41. Later they meet the strange man who will coat their ship. He is Rayleigh, and as they meet him, the old man looks at Luffy's straw hat and says, "That straw hat suits you well." Luffy smiles at that. "Yeah, I got it from Shanks." Rayleigh then looks at Naruto and smiles again. "Say hello to your father for me." Naruto is surprised by this and is about to say something, but Rayleigh interrupts him by saying, "Well, I will be coating your ship. I will be done in a couple of hours so you can explore the island till then. I will protect your ship, so don't worry." The Straw Hats decide to take him on his offer, except Frankie, who stays back to look after the ship. Rayleigh is just an old man that they just met after all. A couple of hours later and the Straw Hats returned back. They didn't meet anything dangerous. Due to jaw-killing world nobles on this island, none of them has ever dared to set foot here ever since then. So no one caused trouble here, not even pirates, as they know that this place was Jaw's territory, though unofficially, and Jaw didn't send any troops here. But a lot of his businesses are here, and only stupid pirates would try and do something here. Especially since the next destination would be Fishman Island. And so as the Straw Hats return back, they see Frankie and Rayleigh joking around about something and laughing. Chapter 115. Rayleigh looks at the Straw Hats and smiles as he sees them set off to go to Fishman Island. "Jaw, I wonder what you are planning," ponders Rayleigh, feeling slightly unsure of the future. To him, Jaw is still that Fishman kid who is so eager to learn that he would even be willing to listen to Roger's confusing advice. Recently, he hasn't met with him, but by his actions to Rayleigh, it seems like Jaw is still the same. "Always ambitious, aren't you, Jaw?" He waves at the new generation of pirates as they go underwater to their destiny. He knows just how one can be influenced by the whims of fate. He can sense that Luffy and the others aren't strong for the new world, and if they don't grow, then they will be ripped apart by the place. Only the best can survive in the place, and only the best of the best can thrive. But he also knows that the new world is a place that entices growth. Should the Straw Hats survive, they will inevitably continue to grow. "Roger, I wish you were here to see the people that you have inspired." The Straw Hats, on the other hand, go underwater and looks at the amazing creatures around them. Fishes hundreds of times the size of their ship, sea kings that are even bigger than that swimming around. What? Status Usopp, he falls on the ground as his face pales looking at the creatures in front of him. Luffy, on the other hand, has a smile on his face as he whispers something to Naruto and points towards one of the giant fish. Naruto smiles and nods at this. Nami and Dead Cat then go and beat them over the head before they can do something that had a high chance of getting them killed. The others are also amazed by the views that they see. Truly something amazing, though they are still confused why there are so many sea kings around and none of them have attacked or anything like that. But this is the Grand Line, so they don't question it too much. They have seen stranger things, like a flying island, a dead man walking, and water that flows upward. Yo-ho-ho, laughs Brook, but this time his laughter seems a little sad as he looks at the creatures in front of him, his mind wandering to another giant sea creature. "Oi! Guys, that doesn't look good," says Sanji, pointing at a kraken who seems to have an angry look on its face as it charges towards their ship. Immediately they are all nervous at this. Being attacked underwater like this is terrible for them because if their coating breaks, they will all be crushed by the sea pressure before they can even have a chance to fight back. As the giant sea creature gets closer and closer, the more nervous they get. Just before the creature can ram into the ship, a giant zebra-like sea king swallowed the kraken. It gives a side glance to the Sunny, but it seems uninterested as it swims away. The Straw Hats breathe a sigh of relief at this. They just dodged a situation that would have most likely spelled their death. Now they have a glimpse of just how dangerous the underwater environment is. It doesn't take long for their ship to arrive at Fishman Island, a place that seems to be surrounded by a giant coating bubble. The Straw Hats seemed amazed by this underwater wonder, and Sanji even had hearts in his eyes as he imagines the mermaids that he will meet. That is when suddenly their ship is surrounded by S number of fishmen. Their eyes widen at this slightly. "I didn't even see them come here," contemplates Zoro, not having sensed a dozen of fishmen move. As he looked at them he couldn't help but frown a little. Every one of them has around the same strength as Arlong. Underwater they seem to be even stronger. The fishmen also frown slightly as they see the Straw Hats all be on guard. But that is when a green-skinned fishman, he is wearing only casual short pants and has a trident on his hand, comes forward and says, "Well, hello there, my name is Bobby, welcome to Fishman Island. We hope that you enjoy your stay here, and we remind you that any crime committed here is punishable by death, even something as petty as stealing." The fishman gives that warning and then sees that the crew relaxes a little. Luffy takes this moment to smile widely at him and says, "Hey! Is there any place with good food in here?" Bobby looks at the boy with a straw hat and smiles. "Yes, you can go to different takoyaki stands in here or even visit some famous restaurants like the Mermaid Cafe and such. Take your time and explore. I am sure that you will like it, and if you want to learn more about the new world you can ask many of the people around. They will show you where you can go to." Luffy nods at that. "Thank you." Bobby smiles slightly and says, "No problem, just remember to not cause trouble in here, and we will even help get you in the new world and offer you protection." As he says that, Bobby turns around, and as he does so the Straw Hats can see the tattoo of a crossbone Santa shark jaw on his back. That was when they understood that Bobby was part of the Jaw Pirates. While that was happening, on Fishman Island, in a certain undisclosed location, Jaw was with his daughter Ariel playing cards as he tells her, "Ariel, you must remember to not cheat, okay?" "Okay, Dad," says Ariel with a mischievous look on her face. Jaw's face softens slightly at this, and a certain fondness appeared on his eyes as he looks at his daughter, Ariel. That is when the door opens and Shirley comes in, her shark-like eyes staring at the scene in front of her with a fondness in her eyes. She puts down some grocery bags and smiles at Jaw and Ariel as they play different card games which Ariel loves. Jaw looks at Shirley and smiles at her brightly. "Welcome back." Shirley smiles at this and gets close to him. "You have keys to the house. Hopefully, you used them this time and didn't just walk through the wall." Jaw pouts at this like he is a kid. "But Ariel thinks that it's cool if I do that." Shirley sighs at this. Ariel also thinks many things are cool. That is why I don't let her hand around with Deidara too much. She is a kid, she is supposed to listen to you. Not the other way around. Ja. Laughs Jaw. "Come on now, it's my duty as a father to spoil Ariel and you can discipline her." She gets annoyed at hearing him say that. She goes behind him and pinches his back forcefully. Jaw doesn't even notice this at all, as something like this doesn't hurt him at all. In all of the seas, not a lot of people can try to hurt Jaw and get away with it. But Shirley is a special case. Chapter 116. As Jaw continues to play with Ariel, he decides to take her for a visit to the parks. "Ariel, wanna come to the amusement park?" Jaw POV. I ask her that and she smiles widely. "Hell yeah!" Language! Scolds Shirley as she hears Ariel say stuff like that, Well, I would be angry at her, but I am a cool dad, so I don't do that. I feel 2 hands hug me from my back and Shirley's breasts smudge my head and she says, I will be coming with you too. Ariel's enthusiasm immediately goes away too as she hears this. I will let her eat as much ice cream as she wants, but Shirley won't let that happen. Yep, I am a bad father all the way to the end. I am as irresponsible as I can be, but I have Shirley here to keep things in line, and I like the dynamics of how this works. I have honestly come to see them because this might be the last time I will see them. I know that by doing this I could kill the people that I care about, but I am a selfish man like that. I admit what I am, and only by admitting what I am can I get what I want. I have obviously considered what will happen if I lose this little war between me and the world government. So I decided to spend these last days of mine with my daughter that I have spent the least amount of time with. I want to be a family with her and Shirley. I do sometimes wonder how it would have been if I just decided to live a normal life once I came to this world. But it's too late now, I must follow my will to the end. Will I be happy once I rule the world, or will I be miserable? I don't know that yet, but I want to live with my new family in this world. I know that much at least. I love my children. I guess I love Shirley too. Still, even then, I have a thing that I have about myself. In a situation where I would have to sacrifice my life for my children, would I do it? I don't know. Who am I kidding? I know the answer, and it's a resolute no. I have felt something in this world that I have never felt before, a sense of wonder, passion, and love. I have everything that someone would ever want. I have the love of countless women, my children love me and are happy. I can go and live a normal life with Shirley and my daughter Ariel. But I feel like I will want more. Where is this gonna end? I will be immortal, so what? Just so I can watch my children die one by one as they will inevitably get bored with living. What a miserable existence that is, seeing the people that I love just wither off. This is unlikely to happen for at least thousands of years, but immortality is a long time, so this will inevitably happen. That is why my goal of exploring the universe needs to exist, not because I necessarily want to, but I need to have something like that. I need that sense of a dream, something unachievable so my existence doesn't become some type of pointless being, like a machine just doing an action repeatedly. I pity anyone like that. That is an existence worse than death. General POV. Jaw puts Ariel on his shoulder and Shirley interlocks his arm with hers and she smiles. They walk outside. By doing so they are directly outside of the back door of the Mermaid Cafe that is owned by Shirley. So, where should we visit first? Asks Shirley as she sends Jaw a look as she sees Ariel whisper something in his ear and Jaw nods with a smile on his face. Jaw starts to speak but is interrupted as Shirley says a resolute no. He sighs at this. He then looks at Ariel who seemed put down by this. He shrugs. He and his daughter were having unspoken conversations, which annoyed Shirley, but she didn't say anything. Because she didn't interrupt them since she did love the relationship Ariel has with her father, even though he spoils her too much sometimes. As they walk towards the amusement park they see a long-nosed young man just run through the shops checking the prices of products. Wow, the prices on these eggs are amazing, says the young man, as he then looks at some rubber bands too. Wow! It's so good, the prices on this place are amazing, I should stock up on these. As Usopp is saying these things, not Shirley nor Ariel pay any attention to the young man. Jaw on the other hand had an amused look on his face. Go D, Usopp, hee, this is amusing as hell. So the Straw Hats are already here. I guess the 2-year training didn't happen since neither Kuma or Kizaru were in Seabody Archipelago. They haven't seen the real power of an admiral. My influence in this world is unmistakable. Now I doubt Luffy will even find the One Piece because he will need to get through me to do so, and I am not exactly the type of man who would just give someone something. I wonder how many of his comrades he will give up for my fake road ponlifts. I obviously hid the real ones. Jaw has many countermeasures against situations like that, and he will kill the Straw Hats if they get on his way. He isn't like the other Inko who wouldn't mind letting his enemies live. In Jaw's eyes, there are only 2 types of enemies, ones who are dead and the ones who will die. The people who look at Jaw don't react in any way, they are used to seeing him around these parts of the island. They obviously know of the relationship between him and Shirley. At the same time, Robin is asking around for the rumored poneglyph as she walks past the amusement park, and she is too concentrated and she accidentally bumps into someone. She looks in front of her and with a smile on her face, she is about to apologize. Sordash. But the words get stuck on her throat as she looks at the giant of a man standing in front of her. He seemed to be twice her size. She could recognize that face anywhere. His shark eyes, with the gills on his shoulder clearly visible as he wears a black tank top. He has a young red-haired mermaid on his shoulder. He looks at her and with a polite smile says, "Oh, sorry young woman, my daughter was telling a story, so I wasn't paying attention." Robin can feel a tingle run down her spine. She has never been in front of someone with such an overwhelming presence. She felt like she was about to pass out. Her instincts were screaming to run away. This was all happening while the fishman has a polite smile on his face. Chapter 117. As Robin feels overwhelmed by Jaw's presence, she still has enough to say. "And no problem." As she says that, Jaw pats her on the head and says, "Okay, see you later." After saying that, he starts walking towards the amusement park. Robin has no idea what he meant by seeing her later. At this time in the New World, close to York New Island, the place where Jaw's main base. In a ship, there was a man with spiky red hair and he was looking at the seemingly defenseless island. He is the rookie pirate with a bounty of 305 million B, used as Kid. He has a smile on his face while looking at Jaw's island. Well, the New World ain't that bad of a place. As long as you are not some weakling. Come on now boys, we will attack the York New Island. We will officially start attacking a Yonko now, so we are no longer gonna have it as easy. Captain, shouldn't we investigate and get some more information on Jaw? He is after all a Yonko. Even though his island might seem defenseless, we can never be too sure. Says Killer, being the voice of reason in this situation. We don't know if we will ever get an opportunity like this. So we must take this chance. Says Kid, he has already done some sightseeing in the other Yonko's territories. But till now, Jaw seems to be the one with fewer defenses than any other. After an hour, back on Fishman Island, Luffy and Naruto just finished eating a lot of ice cream at a shop, and with satisfied smiles on their faces, they lie back. "Thanks for the ice cream," says Naruto with a smile on his face. Luffy looks at him with a confused look on his face and says, "What do you mean? I thought you were paying." "What?" yells Naruto. He is shocked, but once he sees everyone else in the shop looking at him, he smiles uncomfortably. Sorry, nothing to look at here." He then looks at Luffy and says, "What do you mean by no money? You know that I had Zoro and Dead Cat go and exchange the gold we had for Beri." Luffy shrugs at this. "I dunno, I thought you had this under control. What should we do? Do you need anything?" says a mermaid waitress as she comes to their table. Naruto looks at her uncomfortably and says, "And no ma'am." "Okay, call me over if you need anything," says the pretty mermaid as she winks at Naruto. He is completely oblivious to this as he turns to yell at Luffy. "What are we gonna do? Even a crime like stealing ice cream has the harshest punishments in this," says Naruto, totally panicked. Luffy has a serious look on his face. "There is no choice then, we must dash." Cling! Before he could finish saying anything, a bag of golden coins lands on their table, and a voice says, "I will pay for your snacks." As soon as Naruto hears that voice, his face pales, and everyone in the ice cream shop stops eating too and looks at the man who is so tall he casts a shadow over both Luffy and Naruto. "Oh, thank you," says Luffy with a smile on his face as he looks at the tall blue-skinned fishman with strange eyes and a shark-like smile on his face. "No problem," says the man as he drags over his seat and sits down next to Naruto. His arm then goes over Naruto's shoulder and with a casual voice says, "How have you been, son?" Naruto is extremely uncomfortable at this. Luffy still doesn't know who is exactly talking to, but he can still feel a slight weight on his shoulders just standing in front of Jaw. Who are you? Asks Luffy out of curiosity. Jajajajajaja. Jaw laughs at this. He can read the kid in front of him clearly. He can see that Luffy is quite nervous and can feel the passive haki that Jaw is releasing. It makes people subconsciously fear him, or even make the strongest of warriors have their wills broken as they look at him. My name is Jaw, what about you, kid? Luffy frowns as he hears the name. It sounds familiar to him, but he still just can't remember where he has heard it. Still, Luffy answers Jaw's question. My name is Monkey D. Luffy, and I am gonna be king of the pirates. Jajajajajaja. Jaw laughs even more loudly at that. The whole ice cream shop shakes as he laughs. To him, it seems like the funniest joke that he ever heard, as if he knows something that no one else does. This annoys Luffy a little, but Jaw then stops laughing so loudly and looks at Luffy with a chuckle. Well, good luck on that, kid. Hopefully, you will one day find what you are looking for. Though he says that, he knows that it's impossible for anyone to find Laugh Tale anymore. He has found it already, and he made sure that no one else will ever reach that place again. Even if they somehow were able to get all of the road poneglyphs. Naruto, on the other hand, looks at his father with wide eyes. He knows that his father wouldn't laugh at something like this. Don't tell me. Ponders Naruto. He is shocked hearing this. He sees his father give him a smug side glance as if he already knew what Naruto was thinking. At this, Naruto is now 100% sure that his assumption is correct. No way. Anyway, what island do you guys plan to visit after entering the New World? Asks Jaw as he calls over the waitress and orders some ice cream for himself. Huh? We can choose which island we can go to? Questions Luffy, and Jaw nods at this as he eats a scoop of ice cream. Yep. Your navigator would know for this. But the New World is a cool place with a lot of different islands. Even I haven't explored every single one of them yet. Says Jaw, now more concentrated on the ice cream than Luffy. He has already seen how far Luffy would go. Fate is a changing thing. People who rely on something like that are stupid. It's like relying on luck to survive. At this time in the New World, around York New Island, a ghost ship sets sail. It has the flag of the Kid Pirates. It is their ship after all, and every single Kid Pirate crew member is crucified in the ship. They were already all dead, even their captain, as their corpses were rotting and flies went all around them. From a skyscraper, Kisame looks at his own handiwork. Well, that should send a warning to any rookie pirate fool daring to come around here again, unless they are here to bow down so hard that their head will crack open in the pavement. He then turns around and goes back inside the tower. He has more important things to do today than take care of some no-name pirate. Chapter 118. I look at Luffy. I can see that he really isn't bothered by me and talks to me normally. Now people would call this bravery, but I have another name for it. It's called stupidity. If I wanted to kill him, I could easily do it, and sadly for him, he will never find Laugh Tale and never become the Pirate King. I would usually wait till Luffy weakens the world government, but now something like that is unlikely to happen, so by now my knowledge into the far future is pretty much fu *ked. But it doesn't matter, at least hopefully it doesn't. I won't have to worry about anything at that time. Really though. General POV. Jaw looks at Luffy and smiles. Anyway, hope you don't die during your journey, Luffy. That would be a shame. Remember, you chose this road, so you must walk it. As Jaw says that, Luffy nods, but Naruto has a confused look on his face. He feels like his father is not addressing Luffy when he says that. I am gonna become king of the pirates, says Luffy calmly, looking at Jaw. The older man just looks at Luffy. Normally those eyes full of conviction would be something that he would take seriously. But that is no longer now. He knows things that Luffy could never comprehend. I see, says Jaw calmly. I will also have to kick your ass if I want to become the king of the pirates, says Luffy, and immediately as he says that a deathly quiet atmosphere sets over the shop. Jaw looks at Luffy. His gaze is cold now, no longer joking. Seems like I will have to kill a couple of your crew members to teach you about the world, says Jaw calmly. Luffy's eyes widen suddenly as he can see the fishman in front of him say that so casually. His body shakes at this, and looks at Jaw with an angry look on his face. Jaw smiles at that. What are you gonna do? If you attack me, all of your crew members will be dead. It will teach you many things about life. I will have to kill you also. I don't like letting any enemies around. Luffy brings back his fist. Jaw still has that calm, amused look on his face. Do it! Yells Jaw. Luffy can only clench his teeth. Do it! Give me one reason to kill your crew. The tension can be felt in the air. Luffy in the end swings his fist. Fwash! But it stops just before it hits Jaw. Luffy then steps down and starts walking away, but Jaw's hand extends and grabs into Luffy's arm. Next time you decide to shoot for me, make sure that you don't miss. Since you are Naruto's friend, I will let you go easy this time. Fwish! Plop! An arm falls on the ground. Ag-hai! Screams Luffy as he clutches the stump where his arm used to be. Naruto's eyes widen at this, his face pales as he sees this. He goes to help Luffy and looks at the arm on his father's hand. But he can see that it will be impossible to get it back. Jaw then looks at the terrified waitresses. Can I get another vanilla? Requests Jaw. No one moves an inch as he says this. His face turns into a frown and says, Excuse me? Some more vanilla, please. One of the waitresses goes and brings an ice cream cup to Jaw. She knows better than to be lackluster just because he is saying it politely. Luffy is then dragged outside by Naruto, blood still coming out of his stump. Jaw doesn't pay attention to them anymore, he just taught them a lesson that they needed to learn. Jaw contemplates some things, a cold look becoming apparent in his eyes. A very dangerous feeling surrounded him, making everyone in the shop get close to him. As Naruto helps Luffy walk away as his arm was ripped off, Luffy's eyes are shadowed by his hair. Neither of them says anything as Luffy uses his shirt to stop the bleeding. Let's go, we are going to the New World, says Luffy calmly. He no longer had any anger on his face. We are going to Sunny, we will immediately set off after this. Naruto nods at that, not saying anything. They just walk off. After some time the Straw Hats come back to the ship and once they see Luffy with only one arm. Oi! Luffy! Who did this? Questions Zoro, an angry look on his face. The others too have shocked looks on their faces. Dad did it, says Naruto. Luffy said I will beat your ass to Dad. He thankfully didn't kill Luffy and only took his arm. Let me take a look at this, says Chopper panicking as he goes and takes a look at Luffy's arm. What? You are made of rubber. How does it seem like your arm was ripped off by brute force? Your arm should only stretch if that happens. Chopper was confused about how someone was able to do something like this. The power needed to do this is monstrous, the speed too. We should be more careful from now on, says Zoro calmly. The whole crew felt like they just got a wake-up call. During their whole journey, there was nothing truly dangerous except the Gecko Moria battle. We are in the New World now, so while we did good in the first half of the Grand Line, but this is a whole other battlefield now. We can't be reckless anymore. The whole crew nods at this absent-mindedly as they look at Luffy. The latter sees that his crew members are worried. So he smiles and says, Hey guys, come on now, no need to be worried over me. It's just an arm. Super! Yells Frankie doing his pose. Don't worry Luffy, I can make you a new cool arm. Jaw is eating his ice cream when in a lightning flash Kakashi appears next to him. Dad, it seems like the time has come. Jaw continues eating ice cream and smiles. I see, well then, it seems like the time has come. What was the news? Port Gas D.A.'s has been captured by the Marines and the execution will be held on Marineford, says Kakashi. A nervous look evidently appears on his face. Jaw doesn't say anything as he hears that, he only frowns slightly. Inform the family that we will have to gather our army. Have them do it discreetly. Kakashi nods at that. Bzzzt. He disappears from that place, the frown on Jaw's face deepens. He understands just how bad this could end. Still, in the end, he calms his heart and swallows nervously. He feels as if he is back to being all weak once again. His hand shakes slightly, and he looks at it curiously. As the Straw Hats arrive in the New World, a news coup bird lands in front of them and Nami buys a newspaper. Once she looks at it, her eyes widen in shock and she looks back at Luffy. Luffy. Chapter 119. 1 week passed since the time Luffy was on Fishman Island, and during that time many things happened. The Marines are holding a public execution in Marineford. They have gathered most of their forces and are preparing for war against Whitebeard. Normally concentrating all of their forces like this isn't a good idea. After all, what is stopping some no-name pirates from doing something risky, like take over a bunch of Marine bases? Of course, that is a calculated risk from the world government, because even if the Yonko moved to take more territory, they wouldn't be able to hold onto it. Especially if the Marines don't suffer any huge losses of top-tier combatants. The wait for Ace's execution time has many people sweating in nervousness. Many people around the world thought that maybe Whitebeard would not show up. But the old-timers said that he would definitely show up. Many more were questioning Whitebeard's power even, but on the minds of the old people from the time of the Rocks pirates, the strength of Whitebeard and his raw power alone is engraved in their minds. Finally, it comes close to the time of Ace's execution. Sengoku puts into action his plan of announcing the name of Ace's father to the whole world. Of course, thus causing a huge news uproar. The world government's message was that no matter what, the blood of that demon is now gone from the world. Of course, many people all over the world are shocked by this announcement. After all, the blood of the Pirate King still lives on. Shishishishishi. Gecko Moria laughs at this. Truly a miracle. I thought that everyone related to that man had been rounded off. Boa Hancock just turns to look at Ace with only a side glance, not saying much more after that. She knows that in the end, the world government is confident enough in handling Whitebeard that they announced Ace's real parentage. No matter what, that man won't leave out of here alive. Contemplates Hancock. But in the end that doesn't matter to her as she turns around and looks towards the sea in front of her. Not caring at all about Ace or anyone in the plaza for that matter, all of them could die and she wouldn't care even one bit. "Sir! There is an urgent report," says an officer in the Marines. He comes forward and salutes Sengoku. A huge pirate fleet of ships appeared out of nowhere. "What?" exclaims Sengoku, a little surprised at this. But that is when he realizes what truly happened as Whitebeard's main ship and 3 other ships from his personal fleet appear on the plaza. Clank! 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 Rings amongst the plaza as Whitebeard walks up those steps. Then as he gets up, he smiles and looks at Sengoku. "Sengoku, hope that you have been taking good care of my son." Girarararara. Whitebeard is extremely confident in this battle too. He has a smile on his face. He knows what must be done today. He will die as a good father, even if that is the last thing he does. He has a smile on his face as he looks at Ace. "Just hang on a little longer, Ace." "Well now, time to get to work," says Whitebeard, cracking his neck and clenching his fists. Boom! He punches the air to his sides and suddenly, it feels as if the whole of Marineford is shaking. Huge tsunami waves rise on both sides of the island, ready to engulf it. That is also when Admiral Akiji jumps up. Fwish! He freezes the tsunamis by extending 2 ice tendrils. Ice Age! Whitebeard still has a smile on his face as he sees this. "Akiji, you brat." Akiji creates some ice tridents and wants to shoot them at Whitebeard. Crack! But the old man doesn't let him as cracks appear on the air and Akiji has to turn into ice as his body breaks down. But as Akiji's body hits the water, he immediately freezes the place and freezes Whitebeard's ships in place. "Bombard them!" gives the order a Marine captain, but it was also the same on Whitebeard's side as all of the pirates under him who together are a fleet ready the cannons on their ships and start firing at the Marines, while at the same time some pirates step on the ice platform and start charging toward the marine walls. But as the cannons were going towards the marines, 3 vice admirals jump up and cut the cannonballs up in the air before they can hit any marines. "The vice admirals!" exclaim some of the marines and pirates. The 3 vice admirals who stopped the cannonballs were Vice Admiral Inigimo, Vice Admiral Momoga, and Vice Admiral Itachi. The last one has a cold look on his face. He looks at Inigimo and says, "We should have tried the poison tactic on Whitebeard, that would have been easier." As he says that, Inigimo nods at him. "I am with you there 100% Itachi, there is no need for theatrics like this." Momoga looks at the 2 fellow vice admirals, though he is not a follower of absolute justice like Inigimo, and in some part Itachi. He can understand where they are coming from. The warlords were all quiet during this time, and that is when Mihawk, out of nowhere, pulls out his sword and slashes at Whitebeard. Foom! The giant sword slash that is generated is no joke, as it easily cuts through everything on its way. The other warlords are a little startled at that. They don't know if they would have been able to dodge at that moment if Mihawk decided to attack them. Joza catches the slash and throws it into the air casually. Immediately as that happens, in bright light, Admiral Kizaru appears above Whitebeard. Yasakana no Magatana. Countless lasers are shot from Kizaru. Whitebeard scrunches his eyes at this slightly. "That is kinda bright." Marco stops that attack with his body and kicks Kizaru away, though the latter is still unhurt by the attack. At this time, Joseph throws a giant iceberg towards the plaza. The iceberg was so big that now even the giants had the power to break it. But Akaina uses his magma to create a giant fist of magma and evaporates the iceberg. He also shoots a couple of magma projectiles at the Whitebeard pirates. Though some don't hit, they still turn the ice into magma and boil the water, so how that pirates have to immediately get out of it. The giants go on the attack, but someone even bigger than them shows up. At the same time that this is happening, a bloody Blackbeard comes out of Impel Down. He is in a giant raft and has some new crew members with him. Zihahaha, this will become a time of legends. Time has come for destiny to guide us to the right path. As he says that, suddenly a huge shadow covers them all. Even the giant San Juan wolf is fully covered by the shadow. Hiccup the Drump Vasco shot looks up and sees something unimaginable up in the sky. His face pales and he drops his alcohol bottle on the ground. Chapter 120. Blackbeard looks up and sees the giant shadow cast by a floating island. Immediately his face pales and he clutches his hand. "Damn it!" says Blackbeard, understanding what this just means. The island starts falling downward. Dark Nova! A whirlpool of darkness is created in his hand, intending to absorb the flying island. Yo! 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 But suddenly, to their side, a giant wave with eyes and a mouth looks at them. "Minato told me to kill you no matter what. So you must now die." Yo! 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 Shiryu has a cigar in his mouth as he looks at the huge wave of water heading towards them. As expected, this crew truly is reckless, attracting the attention of a Yonko. He then jumps towards the giant wave and draws his sword. Swish! The wave is cut in two, and it turns back into the water. Zehahaha! Laughs Blackbeard. "I knew that having you join my crew wasn't a bad idea." Yo! 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 Comes the voice of the wave as it reforms again. Shiryu looks at this nervously. "What?" "I used hockey in that attack." Fwash! The wave raises the raft upward, but suddenly San Juan Wolf turns into a giant and jumps at the wave. Pow! For the moment, the wave is busy handling the size of San Juan Wolf as the man just lies atop of it, and as he himself is drowning due to being a devil fruit user. Blackbeard then goes back and concentrated on his expanding darkness as he plans to swallow the whole island coming towards him. Fwish! But that is when suddenly one of his arms flies in the air. It was Ichigo, and he has a regretful look on his face as he cut Blackbeard's arm off with a sneak attack. Damn! I should have gone for the head. He then jumps back in the water once more and swims away. Splash! Ah! Screams Blackbeard as he clutches his stump of an arm now. The pain is many more times than one would usually feel. At the same time, the island above them accelerates his falling speed. Boom! Hitting them point blank before the rest of the Blackbeard pirates could even do anything. Not like any of them can, as none of them have the ability to destroy an island in one shot. On the island, Negato, Minato, and Kisame look as the Blackbeard pirates fall to the bottom of the ocean. Their win was not because they were stronger than Blackbeard, but because they attacked when the time was right. The environment around them helped them extremely too. Kisame swims and goes underwater with a sack of fruits. Minato smiles at this. It seems like this problem is taken care of. Now we need to wait and see how things on Dad's side turn out to be. On another part of the ocean, Kaido and his crew had set sail. All of them rejoicing, even Kaido himself was happy. Worororo, finally, I can kill those bastards of the world government and even Whitebeard, says Kaido, as he sits down with his strongest subordinates all around him. He takes a sip of his sake bottle. Gulp gulp gulp. Kaido-sama, you shouldn't get drunk before a battle, it will hinder you, says a random member of the Beast Pirates. Boom! Before anyone could react, Kaido swung his fist and hit the person who said that, throwing the person far away into the ocean, his fate now unknown. Nobody tells me what to do, yells Kaido out angrily, suddenly angry. Well, except Captain Rocks, he was a nice guy, says Kaido, suddenly happy again. What? No! That bastard was horrible too, yells Kaido once more angrily. Bah! I hate this, are we there yet? Everyone is too scared to say anything at that, after all, they don't want to be the next people dead. No, we will reach there soon though, says King Causley. Everyone else gulps at this. Oh, okay, says Kaido suddenly. He now seemed calm, making the others breathe a sigh of relief. King has a casual look on his face as he sharpens his blade. He knows that even though Kaido appears irrational, he wouldn't hit his top commanders even if he is drunk. Though not all top commanders know this. Sir, there is a ship in front of us, says one of the men from the lookout. Huh? Kaido looks at the man, not amused at all by this. Who is it? It's the red hair pirate, sir, answers the lookout. What does that red-haired bastard want? I will kill him if he tries to stop me anyway, says Kaido as he gets up and takes out his spiked club. On Marineford, there is a whole situation as Oars goes to the battlefield and starts throwing around marine ships. He easily handles the other giants and with great resolution he goes towards Ace, trying to save him. Ursa's shock. Boom! But suddenly, out of nowhere, a shockwave hits Oars, bringing him to his knees. Gecko Moria uses his attack too and turns his shadow into a spike and he pierces Oars right through. And so, Oars extends his hand towards Ace, but sadly he can't reach him. Boom! He falls down, breaking the wall below him and allowing entrance to the Whitebeard pirates. Suddenly Squirtle comes from behind Whitebeard and says, Pops, you look at all of us as your sons, right? Whitebeard is confused by this. But he looks at Squirtle and says, Obviously yes, Squirtle, all of you are my sons. I know that Roger killed your crew, but Ace is family now. It doesn't matter whose son he is. Squirtle smiles at that and nods. I know that, Pops. But I just wanted to warn you, the Marines have some type of plan. Admiral Akaine tried to get me to stab you in the back. Whitebeard is shocked by this, not expecting something like this. But he then looks at Squirtle and smiles. Heh! Those bastards think they can say something like that to one of my sons. I will show them. Squirtle, take command of the troops, I will be joining the battle. Squirtle nods at this and before he leaves he says, Be careful, Pops. Whitebeard smiles at this, even though he is in this terrible situation, he can't help but be proud of his sons. Fwash! Whitebeard jumps off the ship, and as he does so, tears come to Squirto's eyes as he knows how this battle will most likely end. Whitebeard, on the other hand, doesn't falter, as he jumps off his ship and calls out to his men. If you want to leave, you can leave. But if you want to stay, then get ready to lay down your lives. Show them why no one dares to mess with a son of mine. Immediately the Whitebeard pirates smile and say, "Hell yeah! Let's destroy those marine bastards," says Jozu as he turns his arm into diamond and charges through the marines like a bull, destroying anyone on his way. Boom! He jumps up and bashes his fist into a giant, bringing him down and knocking him out. Whitebeard stabs his halberd on the ice and seemingly sinks his fingers into the air, as if grabbing a cloth. "I will show you what fear feels like, Marines." Foom! And he pulls down on the air. That's the end of this tale. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the finale.